And hello, everybody. Welcome to the seventh episode of the Shadow Collective podcast. I am Darth Eldor as always, and I'm here with my good friends Andy Beats, and I'm here with my good friend Andy Beats. Uh-oh.
I got no, bud.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you now.
I can hear you now, yeah.
Okay.
All I heard was good bud Andy Beats, and that was it. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what? He's talking?
Alright, yeah, I have a push to talk button I use as I'm talking.
Oh, okay.
Keeps me going, so that's kind of my fault.
Get that crap out of here.
But as always, here are my good friends, Andy Beats
Again. Hey.
and Swampgrass.
Hello.
And as you can see, our wonderful production work, as it always is.
Always a technical difficulty at some point.
But we have fun doing it no matter what, right?
That's right.
That's right.
Alright, so that being said, welcome once again to the 7th edition of the Shadow Collective podcast. Got a few interesting things to go over tonight. But before we do that, I'm sure some of you are probably going to be asking yourselves, well, where the hell is the 6th edition of the Shadow Collective podcast? We haven't seen that yet. Unfortunately, a couple weeks ago, we learned more of our production problems, and
technical difficulty,
and managed to lose that episode, which is a shame because it was 3.5 hours long, and we had a really good one. Yeah, we had a good conversation.
It was a really awesome episode. You guys should have been there.
Yeah, it's like if you were live, you caught it, and it was great, and then we found out there was no copy of it afterwards, and it was like, oh no. But that being said, it's lost forever. Not much we can do.
It's lost in the space of time, in the galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, the ether of the Force.
Okay, well, with that being said, here we go. Let's try to get ourselves into this episode. And do we want to start with the news, or do we want to start with going over some of the episodes?
Maybe we get the Mandalorian out of the way, and then the last episode, because I know it's been like a couple weeks now, so maybe get that out of the way, go back to the news, and then pop on to the other stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like a great idea. So a couple weeks ago, we had the last episode of the Mandalorian, the season end, and first I could read my way through it. Just bear with me for a second here. Alright, it was episode 8. It aired on April 19th. And it was chapter 24, The Return. Bo-Katan and a reconnaissance squad retreat from Moff Gideon's base. Upon returning to the Mandalorian flagship, Axwove sends the remaining Mandalorians to reinforce the planetary troops, while he defends the ship from Imperial TIE squadrons. With assistance from Grogu, Din Djarin escapes from captivity and seeks out Gideon. Djarin and Grogu discover cloning tanks filled with clones of Gideon who can use the Force, and Djarin destroys them. After a lengthy skirmish between the Mandalorians and the Beskar-enhanced stormtroopers within the base, Bo-Katan, Djarin, and Grogu make a final stand against Gideon and his Praetorian guards. The Darksaber is destroyed by Gideon during his and Bo-Katan's fight. Wolves rams the Mandalorian capital ship into the Imperial base, and Gideon is consumed by the resulting blast, from which Grogu protects himself. Bo-Katan and Djarin with a Force bubble. After the battle, the Mandalorians restart the Great Forge at the heart of Mandalore, and Djarin formally adopts Grogu. Afterwards, Djarin takes up honest contract work with Carson Teva and moves into a cabin on the outskirts of Navarro's capital, as previously offered to him by Greef Karga, while IG-11 is rebuilt by the Enzellan mechanics to serve as Navarro's new marshal. It was directed by Rick Famuyiwa, and written by Jon Favreau. So what you guys think of this episode, guys?
Oh, really awesome. Really awesome. Lots of action, right? We had some pretty awesome fight scenes going on in there. We had some a little bit of fleet stuff where they were blowing up the capital ship and stuff. That was a really, really awesome episode.
That was a huge explosion, man. That
Oh, for
ship
sure.
coming down, like, holy man, that's scary as heck. But yeah, it was super good. It was really neat to see, like, the little aspects of the base that he had built in there, and especially all those cloning tanks and stuff. And I kind of knew it too. Like they do a close up of the clone that's in there, and you're like, oh yeah, he's gonna open his eyes. He's gonna open his eyes. Boom,
Yeah.
there it is. Ah. But it was funny. It was funny. You know, when he was when they blew up the tanks. Okay. It was just funny how it just seems so easy to do. He was just like boop boop
Yeah.
boop 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 boop, and there's just like boom. Like it was like, how did you know to do that? Like
Yeah, and I was actually thinking about that. I'm like, how many things in real life have that kind of feature built in where you can just push a couple buttons and it's like full destruction, game over, wipe the project. That's
this
it.
must be
That's
a
it.
Star Wars, just a Star Wars thing, right? Where it just implodes with a couple buttons.
It seems in a
explodes
lot
when
of
it blows.
movies there's some kind of like self-destruct. It's like, oh, the base is entering self-destruct mode. I'm like,
Yeah, but how did he
that's
know
kinda-
it was a self-destruct to blow it up? Like I don't.
yeah,
You know, like
pretty crazy.
Hey, the better thing is, I
Just-
mean, in not only that, you know the exact thing to do to make that to activate it.
right,
Yeah.
right. And he
Yeah,
and he did say he was like Grogu, get out of there. He was just like boop 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 boop, and it just started blowing, right? Just didn't even say get out. Nope, let's just start blowing it up.
In fact, he even did say stay right here, which is right in the blast zone. So
Yeah. That was a cool sequence. Oh my gosh, that was cool.
yeah.
The whole laser field stuff, right? Laser field,
hmm
and
Yeah, you definitely got the episode 1 vibes with that.
oh man, that was so
Mhm.
cool. Yeah, and it was like, and you
Waiting for
definitely
it to
could tell,
open.
like, it was a task for him. Like, you can tell it was very well done, very well, like acted. Like, the acting was really well because you could tell by the end of it he was tired. Like, he was having a hard time struggling by the end of it, right?
I have a lot of like small things that I noticed with that where it's like, okay, so first of all, I learned something really cool. Apparently that like the beep beep click sounds that the droids make, he called it oh shoot, now I can't remember. But
Don't leave us hanging, man.
shoot, gone now.
Think, brain, think.
He's like, sorry, I don't speak binarian. He's like, I don't
Binarian,
speak.
yeah.
So now we know that's the name of that droid language,
Okay,
I guess.
okay.
Binarian.
Binarian, all right.
Yeah.
He's not bilingual in that point.
But it's funny too, because right after he says that, he's communicating with R5 and seems to understand him just fine. They're like communicating back and forth.
Yeah.
Well,
It's like, I
astromech
don't speak it.
droids and every astromech droids are by themselves, and every other droid is another language. Like,
Yeah. And then another thing I was thinking is when they were going through those like force fields or whatever they're called, ray shields. Yeah.
ray shields, I think. Yeah.
Anyways, the sides are like where he knocks them over, right? They're falling to their death and stuff.
Yeah.
He has a jetpack on though, and he could just fly around.
But it wouldn't be a show, man, if he just did that.
I mean, he could just fly to the last ray shield, fight the last two guys, and game over. Leave the other two in there.
I mean, I guess when you're in the moment, you don't really realize it, right? I guess you have time to step back and think about it. Hey, wait a second.
Wait, I could have did this all this time?
Like, he can go back and be like, imagine like he goes back and watches a video replay of that. Wait a second, I could have gone underneath.
I kind of noticed it too because there's a part where he puts a knife in the guy and then he kind of reaches for it and you're like, oh, like almost as if he's gonna fall. But then I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, he's got a jetpack, doesn't matter. And then I'm like, wait a sec, he can just go around.
Well, I think you're talking about when he threw the knife at the guy and then he tried as he was falling
Yeah,
back
he
off.
tried
He
to
tried to
like
reach for the knife, but he couldn't
reach
make
for
it.
the knife. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
oh, he might fall, and then oh no, he has a jetpack. So
Yeah.
yeah.
He won't fall. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, he
Yeah.
ended up using the jetpack anyways. I think, right? Didn't he? At the end of that,
I think a little bit in the fight with
because
or no, yeah. I
Mandalorians
think he
they
did.
do tend to use their jetpack while fighting, as you saw with Bo-Katan, right?
Yeah, and Axe.
And Axe, that fight.
Yeah,
But yeah, that was a super cool scene. Super cool.
was cool.
Really well done. And I was trying to, I can't remember because I listened to a couple interviews, but I couldn't, I didn't know if Pedro had anything, because I know that the other two guys that are really, they do a lot of the stunt work, a lot of the fighting work. So I'm not sure if Pedro was in that or not, or like how much a part of that he was, or.
Yeah, it's hard to say when they have the helmet acting.
Well, it is hard too because they are they are the Mandalorian. So the three of them together, they make up him for sure. And
Right.
so I mean, you kind of feel maybe he was there for some of it, but I mean, I would imagine a lot of it was done by what is it, Brandon Wayne and who's the other guy?
I can't think of their names at the moment.
No,
Yeah, I don't
it was like
know them off the top of my
it was
head
like
or
a
anything.
one word name like Seal or something like.
Oh, okay.
But, I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, it was cool, man. Like it was I think the whole episode in whole, like it was really I mean, I think we all knew it going into this. It was going to be a pretty big battle at the end of it, right? And
Oh, for sure. An epic conclusion.
epic conclusion, man. Like
No Thrawn though, right?
no. Oh man, that I was so disappointed at the end of that. Like when it was all done, I'm like, okay, here we go. The post credit, we're gonna get something right here. Nothing. I'm like, what? Like, you're not. That's a great time to set up something. Just some small little thing. Just that's all you needed. Even the back of the head of Thrawn. No, I think we were talking about this last time. We were saying that so if it was just like a hologram, like a just a hologram of Thrawn, and like we just hear his voice, maybe. Like you know what I mean?
We don't even see him, just hear it.
It was such a missed opportunity, I think. But I don't know.
At least they did show the mythosaur briefly there, and
I thought she was gonna ride it.
I know. I thought it was gonna. I thought it was gonna be an action for sure.
Oh man.
And then I like too how kind of at the end they leave us, anticipating this adventure between Din Grogu, his new son,
his
new
yeah.
officially,
Yep.
and going around the Outer Rim hunting down Imperial remnants. So, it's like something to look forward to. What are they gonna get into?
I think the interesting part to me is, wait a minute, Din was his last name?
Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird too, because even with like Kreese, like everybody takes the last part, Kreese, but then like for him, for some reason, it's Din.
It's like is he supposed to be Japanese, or were they switching the name around, or it's like I just started
the Star Wars thing.
It's like I was waiting like maybe Grogu Jaren, but it's like, wait, Din Grogu? Wait, what?
Din Grogu, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was weird too. I was like, why is it Din Grogu? Because like I said, any other time where it shows generational Mandalorians, it's always the last name, it seems.
Well, you'd think, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Weird.
Maybe.
Weird stuff.
Yeah, because I mean they were deemed a house, right? Them two? The House of Two or whatever it was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah.
The Din house, I guess.
The Din house? That sounds so lame.
You'd think Jaren. Yeah, Jaren sounds more like a
House of Jaren, yeah. That sounds a little bit better. House of Din. Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Even maybe they just had like a focus group and they decided that Grogu Jaren was out.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know. But
Grogu Jaren. It's a lot more to spit out Grogu Jaren than Din
Yeah.
Grogu.
It does seem something like that the masses probably wouldn't absorb as well, maybe.
I don't know. I don't know.
But then again, Grogu itself, I don't think has taken very well to the masses. I think for most people, it's Baby Yoda, right? So
Yeah, well, I
Yeah,
mean,
more or
people
less.
keep reverting back to that, right? Like,
yeah,
and you and
it's like we
sometimes you
found
like
his name,
correct
bro.
yourself, right? You're like, oh,
Yeah.
Baby Grogu. I mean, oh yeah, and I just said Baby Grogu, didn't I? Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
both.
Baby Din Grogu.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, there's two things that I want to touch on real quick about the episode, and that's number one. Everybody after that, the episode before that, everybody was talking about, oh yeah, somebody's gonna turn on them, somebody's gonna betray them. I'm so happy it didn't happen because
I think a lot of people are.
to me it never made sense for it to happen that way anyway. So I'm very happy about that. But the thing that we haven't touched on is the Darksaber is destroyed.
Yep.
So it kind of makes me wonder. It kind of leads me to where that part of the story goes. I mean, are they going to follow Bo-Katan without the Darksaber now? Now that it's no more, they're going to show them recrafting it. Are we going to eventually see our favorite Din Grogu recrafted at some point in the future? So,
yeah, I don't see them recrafting it. That's 100%. I don't see that happening.
I feel like if they craft something, they would craft something new to kind of like symbolize like this is the new Mandalore. They have the Great Forge fired up there at the end. That was pretty cool. But like, yeah, I could see them maybe doing something different, like uh a hammer or a sword or something that they just craft out of Beskar. Actually, they probably wouldn't do that now that I think about it
Yeah.
because she was talking about the spear being like a threat to Mandalorians because it's meant to be for armor only and stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, maybe they wouldn't do that.
I mean, maybe they build something out of the armor, kind of, sort of, like to sort of like remember it by. I don't know, or sort of remember it by is not the word. Sort of like
Like commemorate.
yeah,
Maybe.
something like that. Maybe they build it into their. I mean, because they're one Mandalore now, right? They're as one. The clans have come together, so maybe they build. Maybe they have a new logo or something with the dark saber hilt in it or something. I don't know. Like but I don't see them building it again. Like I think the point of destroying it was, they're past that point. I think like
Yeah, the end of an
an
era.
era, right?
Yeah.
So I don't see them rebuilding it. Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I would be okay with that. I'm just curious.
It seemed kind of quick though. Like when he was just like done and they just chucked it aside. They're like, that's it. Like, okay, so this hilt that's been around for generations, that's been like, the one symbol to lead Mandalore. Whoever
Yeah.
had it, just like ting, see ya. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
good thing.
Move on.
Good thing
Yeah.
no droid had ever grabbed it in the past whatever 2,000 years or however long around it was,
I mean, it seemed kind of quick, but I mean, a lot of things are, in this. I find in the series, some things they just do quickly and get it out of the way and whatever. Like,
yeah, they put in little things for us to pick on. It seems.
right? Yeah.
I noticed a couple things. When what's his name, Gideon. It really bugs me actually the way he worded the clones. He's like, "Oh, you talking to Din." He's like, "Oh, you took away their breath or drowning them before they got to breathe or something like that." But then he was like explaining what they were, and he says they have something that I never had, the Force. And it's just like the wording of that to me sounds like somebody who doesn't know anything about the Force, or like, I don't know, it just kind of was weirdly worded because like we all know the Force is like a natural force that exists in everything. So to say to have the Force just is like grammatically incorrect. So it kind
Mm.
of bugged me a little bit. What do you guys think?
I don't know. You can go, Elder.
I'm gonna say maybe he just didn't know how to word it at the time. I don't know how else to put it.
I don't know. Like, it wasn't. I don't think
Like,
it bothered me as much as it seems to bother you, I guess. But
but like to me, like he should have said like, oh, the clones would have connection to the Force or be able to use the Force, something like that, instead of just saying they have the Force. Like he's like something that I never had, but realistically, he does have the Force because everything has the Force.
yeah, right. Just
yeah,
knows.
but I mean, if you don't technically understand that because you've
Yeah,
never been a Jedi, maybe you just don't see it that way.
You got to be one with the Force. The Force is one with me.
yeah.
Anyways, yeah, no. I don't know. Like, I find that whole like I don't know. He was kind of like treating. I get it too because I mean, you work all this time and then you put all this effort and blood and sweat and whatever they did, however long it took them to build those clones or grow them or whatever, and then all of a sudden it's blown up, and he's just like he treated them. I mean, they're basically his children. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like you killed them before they had breath, and like, you know, you're like, whoa, like,
Yeah, he was pretty upset.
pretty
for sure.
intense. Like,
Yeah.
but
And his suit, like we got to see more about the capabilities of his suit. It was
yeah,
pretty cool.
and you can
He had
hear
that
it more
like
too, right?
finger
When he was
gun
walking
and
around,
stuff.
like,
Yeah,
you can hear
yeah, like the
you can
Dark
hear,
Trooper
yeah, yeah.
mechanical
Well, it kind of makes
joints
me
and stuff.
think like is it like is he half a body? Like what's going on with his or is it just like cuz there's no way that his body it's like he put on these things and like it's not like he put on armor. Like it almost seems like he has to like fit himself in this thing to like I don't know. It sounded kind of weird like
Yeah, it did seem like mostly mechanical.
seemed like
So
he was just a torso with a head like I don't know. Maybe I don't know. It could be wrong, but that's what it seemed like to me, anyways.
yeah, it did seem a bit. Yeah, like it was like the Dark Trooper, but somehow he's inside it, right?
Mm,
Like the size of the Dark Trooper. I mean, so like, where's his leg?
yeah. Or maybe the bodies that he was cloning. I mean, we didn't really see the bottom half of the body. I mean, maybe it was just I don't know. Maybe it was the bottom half of the body is robot or something. Like you know what I mean? Like I don't know.
He could be. It is Star Wars. A lot of people have robotic limbs and stuff.
There was okay. So one thing about that whole thing too. There was some talk about whether or not Gideon was that a clone of Gideon or was that actually him? Like there's been I guess there was a little bit of a chatter going around the interwebs about that. What do you guys think?
I saw some of that, and I wouldn't have a problem with that. I mean, he was able to free one of his clones before they got into any of this, and
Yeah, and when it showed those clones, they did seem like aged or whatever. Like they did seem like ready, I guess. They looked like him, like rather than being partly formed or
Well,
whatever it
the
takes.
whole thing I think the whole thing started too, where it was like in I think earlier in when you saw him, whatever episode it was, and then the last episode when you see him, it's like he had no mustache, but he had a mustache in the other one. You know what I mean? I can't remember if I don't think the clones had mustache in the tank, right? So I don't know if that and I think that kind of started the whole thing. They're like, was he a clone? Was he not? You know?
I mean, I would be more hip to the idea of if he came back next season, they came out and said, "Okay, well, we thought we killed you." No, that was one of my clones
Right.
that actually
Yeah.
was able to get out in time, as opposed to, well, I went through all this really hot fire and I survived.
Yeah.
So,
But you know what? If okay, I have a theory against this, and it has to do with what I was just talking about. Because if he was a clone, then he would have the Force, and he would, use it within that battle or protect himself from the fire or something like that,
See,
right?
I don't think I think that was the last piece that he was missing. Still, I don't think he fully understood how to get the Force in the clones because I know they extracted stuff from Grogu or
Mhm.
whatever they were doing, right? So,
Yeah.
but I don't think he got all the strength from all the whatever. He got everything else that he needed. But I think the Force was the one thing he was still trying. They were still trying to figure out, right? And I don't think at that point that he had it, but he had everything else. Like obviously you could tell because he had the strength. Like
Yeah.
he had the strength. They were fighting him. He had the strength too, right? So that's why I was all. I mean, he could be a clone, right? Like
And if you think
I don't
about
think it
it,
was all the armor. I don't think it was all the armor. I think he, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, it did show him being good at fighting in the season 1, season yeah. Like long before we seen him on Mandalore with the suit and everything, I think he had a fight scene, didn't he, with Din?
yeah, the
Or no,
finale
never
season
mind. He
2.
just knocks his
it was.
Oh yeah, finale season 2, right.
It was
Yeah, yeah,
season two.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
With the spear.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, we see he does have some combat prowess.
I mean, but you
For
have to think.
sure.
I mean, even if they did, quote unquote, have the Force, um,
He might
still,
not know.
still may not even know how to use it yet.
You still, yeah, exactly. You still need to like Grogu had what 2 years of training
Mhm.
to figure out how to do that force shield because like 2 years before that he probably wouldn't have been able to do that.
Yeah.
Or if he was able to do it, he wouldn't have been able to maintain it that long. Because
Right.
I mean,
Because I
at that
mean,
point, he was passing out after doing little things.
but he did, yeah, for sure. The stamina for sure. I think, like he's grown with that. But I mean, in season one, he that flame trooper that came in where they were battling or whatever it
Oh,
is,
right. Yeah.
he did block the fire, didn't he? But I don't
Hmm.
think it was a shield, and he couldn't hold it for long. I don't think.
Yeah, I think it was just a quick little like stop the first initial blast and then the flame trooper stopped, I think, or
Well, I
something.
think either that or I can't remember that maybe
So-
the flame pack blew up or something, or I don't know. He
Oh yeah, pushed it back into his thing and then it blew
yeah.
up. Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. That's right. That's
so it
right.
took 2 years of training, you know. So even if, like you said, even if they did have the force, yeah, I don't feel they wouldn't have known how to use it. Like
Yeah, but you'd think like if he had the force, then he would put his like hand up and try to like do some sort of trick, you know?
yeah, but it still would be like I don't know, like
Wait,
be like a
hey, what does
painter,
this
like I
do?
don't know, like yeah. I mean, you could have paints and whatever it is and have a canvas, but if you don't know how to paint, like you're not a artist. Like I mean, he wouldn't be able to. I don't think he knew how to use it even if it had it. So,
All
but
right.
anyways, that's just me. And also another theory. Like there's no body, right? No body at the end of that, and it's like just no body in Star Wars usually means probably coming back. Like you know, because I mean we saw Paz Vizsla, right? He died. His body was right there, right? So he's not coming back. We got stabbed in the
Mhm.
neck too, but
Wow.
uh, but I have a feeling it's not the last of Gideon, to be honest.
And like I said, I could see that.
Probably something they would like to keep in pocket as a option because, a great villain is what makes a great story from time usually.
And like it would be cool, honestly, to see because you saw the how much he cared about Thrawn. Like he did not care about what Thrawn's like plan was or whatever it is. It was all his stuff and that's it, right? So it'd be cool to see that kind of like friction as well between them, like if he came back. Because I mean, I feel like Thrawn's going to be around for a bit. I don't feel Thrawn's going to be a one season and all. You know what I mean? I feel this whole like Dave Filoni's movie. I think it's going to be a culmination of Thrawn's going to be in it, and there's going to be blah blah blah, right? So it'd be cool to see that kind of friction between those two guys.
I mean, not to mention, I think at the end of the day, if it really came down to it, considering the friction between Gideon and Thrawn, at the end of the day, it would make more sense in my mind if Thrawn was the one that eventually got rid of him.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, what else in that episode? Anything else that
I think I covered everything I wanted to say.
I wanted to mention that Eldor, you called it that it was going to be Grogu saving Din against the Praetorian guards, because you were like, I don't think Din can beat them. I bet it's Grogu using the Force or something like that. And yeah, you were
definitely
right.
helping him out for sure.
Yeah. I forgot all about that.
It looks like it looks like he could handle himself like one-on-one for the maybe two, but the three just coming back. Right, he'll knock one down, the other one's coming, and then two's coming. Right, so it was cool to see like Grogu using the Force to like pull their weapons away from them, so they can't get their weapon, and all that stuff, or like using the Force to pull them into Din or something. I don't know, like can't remember how it went, but
another thing I kind of noticed with the Praetorian guards is the blaster seemed like super effective against them. Like when Din he like shoots his leg and then the leg like goes flying behind him. I'm like, if they're like that great with hand-to-hand weapons, let's just shoot them. Stand back and let loose.
It reminds me of that scene in Indiana Jones where the guy comes out with a sword and he's just like, and he's just like, yeah, you got the sword, but I got a gun.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of funny. I'm like, whoa, that blaster works really good against these guys.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, it does. I mean, it's like, did they not have Mandalorian armor? I guess not. Like,
yeah. I mean, their armor seemed to protect them, but it really was like throwing them back. Like,
yeah,
I'm sure if you had a more steady amount of blaster fire, hey, take them right out.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was.
I think I don't think there's much more of us to really cover. I think we've pretty much got it all.
Well, IG-11's back at the end. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and it did have a little bit of foreshadowing of that. Like it showed that High Republic bar before with the head, and then he goes back to get the head.
Yeah,
so that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
For the spare parts.
Yeah. And did you guys notice in the background there, Dave Filoni was in the back at the bar?
Oh, was he? I didn't see that.
Him and Rick were both there.
Oh yeah, that's right, they were.
Yeah, because they're pilots, right? They're pilots in the New Republic, so
yeah,
pilots in the New Republic, right? So they were at the pilots bar,
So yeah, I'll have to go back and look at that again. Just that part. Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay, so I think we all agree. Good episode and
good way to end it.
Yeah, and I'm sure we're looking forward to seeing more. But let's get into some of the news right now.
Excellent.
I picked a couple of stories. I mean, obviously, we're not going to cover everything, but there's a couple different things that kind of stood out over the last couple of weeks. The first one was obviously the rumor out there that John Boyega is coming back to be a part of this movie in 2025 with Daisy Ridley. I can't say I'm surprised by it.
No, I'm not. I'm 100% not surprised at all.
I mean,
yeah, I was saying last time in the lost episode, that I thought it was likely they would bring him back because it's like their chance to kind of, make it right by all the people that were upset that they kind of sidelined him in the movies.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm hoping that somewhere in there they'll write the character to the point where it could be a little more. What's the word I'm looking for? Respectable. Because I think
more of like a main role. Like
because it just felt like he went from being a guy who was. We watched the very first trailer for Force Awakens, and this guy's going to be important, to basically just a guy who ran around screaming "Rah!" Jedi every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Well, it was on the right path. Like his character was like
Yeah.
Force Awakens. I was like, oh, he's not. This is gonna be a good character. And then like, yeah, then the whole Ryan Johnson fiasco happened, and you're like, what happened to Finn? Like, just like
Yeah.
lobotomized him. That's it. Done. Like,
Yeah, even in the second movie, like he had his own side quest with Rose there and stuff, and like, or his little side story, I should say, with Rose and stuff, and then in the third one, just nothing, just barely in it.
I
yeah,
mean,
and then we get the hint of him being a Force user at the end of it. You're like, oh, that's where it was supposed to be headed, I guess. And but because obviously, because JJ was the one who started the story, so obviously it was heading that way. But
that's like,
but
hey, way to shoehorn that back into the story.
yeah, let's try to shove that back in here somehow. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Um,
yeah, it's a chance for them to get redemption on that for sure.
Yeah.
And not to mention, I mean, he's a great actor, and I just really hope that they can get him to come in. They do a good job with it.
Well, I just hope he's not like because I think you were mentioning in the last episode that because of everything that happened, he really disliked he didn't want to come back at all. He didn't want to come back and if there was a chance to reprise the role, he would not come back, right? So
he had choice words about Lucasfilm
right.
when it was over. It's like, yeah, I mean, you would have thought he was trying to burn the bridges. So,
yeah.
I mean, obviously they want to continue the story, though. I think he needs to be a part of it, and I think they're gonna have to maybe do a little groveling to go back to him and say, "Look, we really need you for this movie. We really need to. We'll do something right by your character."
Because I think they bring him back, right? They bring him back. I think the back and forth between Rey and Finn, I think it'd be really good. And I think from what I've heard, I don't think they're not main roles. So these are going to be if the rumor is true that he's coming, but they're going to be secondary characters, right, in the story.
Oh, okay.
And they're going to make whatever else, the young Jedi, obviously they would make the young Jedi the main characters in the story. But I think the back and forth, I like in the first one for sure, like having Finn in the first movie was it had some humor, it had some, it was a good contrast, you know what I mean? Like it was a good flow with the character, which was good, right? But I think the back and forth between them would make it more successful, in my opinion.
I agree with that.
Yeah, it'd be cool if like she's like I think we were talking about like the premise is supposed to be where she started some kind of Jedi school or tried to get back the Jedi ways, right? So that'd be cool if maybe
Well,
he does learn stuff about Jedi and like is training or yeah, helping to train youngsters and stuff like that or something.
well, I mean, at the end of Last Jedi, she had the ancient Jedi texts that Luke was using to rebuild the Jedi Order, which obviously failed because he didn't have a Jedi Order at that point. But this is where 15 years later she's now using those same texts to try to do the same thing. Obviously, if they bring him in, they're bringing him in to be one of her students. You figure 15 years of training down the line, he's probably a Jedi Knight by now.
Yeah, I would say that he's probably a knight by then. Like,
yeah,
I mean, he's probably got a student of his own at that point, if anything.
Maybe, yeah.
But also at one point too, like Yoda was giving like her and Luke the message that you don't need this like ancient stuff to continue the legacy. Like you are a Jedi. Like when he burns down the tree that was supposed to be like special and all that stuff, he's like, we don't need that. Boom. You know?
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, I think
So
maybe
I don't think really they need the ancient text because she has all the knowledge
Yeah,
there.
I would say so. I mean, that's a fair statement. I mean, like they could I mean, she just could have those books, the scripts or whatever it is, just to be like, oh, this is like the ancient scrolls, like, you know, to get the kids like excited. Like, this is like, you know, this is like like these are like ancient things. Like, you can't, you know, I don't, maybe she starts a library. I don't know. Like, maybe, you know, there was a, you know, Jedi library before, right? Maybe she starts a Jedi library again. You know, but I mean, it could also be something that she goes back in, that she's still learning from that, so she can teach. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe,
Yeah.
because I mean, she didn't really have. She had Luke for a little bit, but you know, how much did she learn? Like,
and I think that's a big part of it, is because I mean, you got to remember. I mean, once Obi-Wan died and Luke didn't have a chance to go back to Yoda right away, it was the ancient texts that come. I mean, as you're going along, that's where he's starting to pick up the ancient texts in between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. And I'm just learning this now because apparently the newer Star Wars comics are actually covering this.
oh, okay.
Which I think I left a note somewhere in there that I need to pick up on those episodes, pick up on those issues, because not only is it showing him starting to pick up these texts, but it's also showing how he crafted his green lightsaber.
Nice.
Which is something
that's a huge piece, yeah.
Yeah,
that's a pretty big piece.
Yeah, and that's something I'm really interested in seeing. So, at that point, I mean, you got to figure he doesn't know everything. He knows what he was taught, but there's still a lot out there that he needs to learn. This text would be invaluable to him at that point. I mean, obviously, at the point where Yoda, quote unquote, burned them, he's gone through these texts. He knows how to be a Jedi at that point. Yeah, they're not as important anymore because you are a Jedi. You've learned these things. You're powerful with the Force. Rey's not there yet. Maybe she still needs to learn. If we were talking about 50 years in the future when she's a Jedi Master or a Grand Master and the Order is back and running and everything, she probably doesn't need him that much anymore.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, like, the thing is, Rey knows more than Luke ever did because all he knows is from what he read of those texts, whereas she has all the Jedi in her from that
from the that's right.
thing on Exegol. Like, literally all the Jedi's knowledge is in her. So it's like the infinite. It's like a extreme version of the texts. In fact, she probably is writing texts at some
Maybe
point
she
in
is.
between there.
Right? Yeah, could
Possibly.
be. Writing her own library, writing her own texts, you know, new Jedi school, new start, new scripts.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was a sore point for me.
She got the Apple iPhone version of the texts.
Yeah.
Everything at her fingertips.
Scroll.
It was like the Matrix when Neo starts learning everything. They just put a chip in and it downloads into his head instantly, and there it is.
Yeah. It's like, you're a Jedi.
Yeah. Like your eyes are like, okay, yeah, I'm Jedi.
Yep, I know it all now.
I know everything. Yeah.
All right. Let's get into the next story. The next story that I had found that I was kind of interested by was everybody was saying that they were talking about Damon Lindelof, and when we first heard that he was gone from making this movie, it sounded like he had basically finished writing his movie, handed it in, and then basically walked away from the project. And it was like, wait, why? why would you write this story and then just leave? And come to find out, now that they're talking to him and he's actually starting to tell his side of the story, I didn't want to leave. I didn't leave. I was told to leave. I mean, I was basically fired by Lucasfilm because they didn't like my story. And obviously,
Yeah, it's a big difference for sure.
um, his interpretation of this story for Ray was not the Daisy Ridley 15 years in the future Ray, but 60 years in the future, and an older Ray which he said his ideal choice for Ray would have been Helen Mirren. I don't know about that, but but I mean, there could have. I'm sure there are. I don't know who I would have picked. I'm not going to sit here and try to act like I would know.
Yeah.
But
She is a great actress.
I agree. 100% a great actress. I just don't know if. I don't know if. Some about her just doesn't say Star Wars to me.
Yeah, she doesn't really look much like Daisy Ridley.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I'm not sure who I would pick for that role, but I mean, I think that's a speculation for another podcast. but but basically, yeah, that was what he originally came in with. Lucasfilm said, "No, we're not interested," and you gotta go. But even reading here, he's like, even reading in this story, it's like, I'm willing to go back to the back of the line and wait for my turn again, because I do want to make a story in Star Wars.
Even after the way he was treated, that's crazy, man. That's nuts.
It makes you think. But
yeah.
But it's like I said. I mean, I think you can still sit there and have this story in the future. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be the way he wrote it. But 60 years in the future, I wouldn't have a problem with the story of this. Obviously, some things might have to be rewritten to go in line with where the canon fits at that point.
Yeah, I was gonna say they might not even specifically have a plan for what they want to do with that era of time, and maybe that's part of the conflict.
And I could see that.
Did we lose Yeldor?
Hello?
I'm here.
Okay.
But yeah, I could see that. I was gonna say, yeah, I'm not really sure what else to say on the issue. I mean, I feel like I feel like I've said what I needed to say. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is good to hear that he didn't walk away from it, because to me that would mean there's like a major issue with what the end product is going to be, because he doesn't stand behind it, rather than you know now we know he was asked to leave, so that potentially leaves me optimistic that there is a better chance that this does have a good story.
yeah,
I don't know. It's kind of it is kind of weird. Like, you put all this, like, there's no way that he was, here's the script. Oh, we don't like it. Yeah, you're gone. Like, there had to have been some sort of like butting heads of some sort. Like, it can't just be like, we don't like this. What do you mean you don't like it? Like, I would love to have been in the room. You know what I mean? Fly on the wall,
Fly on the wall,
to see what kind of conversation it was. I mean, it just, I don't know. It's the truth is coming out obviously from him, but I don't know. Like,
no, I mean, I think it all leans back into those two words that we don't like to hear too often. That's creative differences.
well, for sure that too. Yeah, it's usually.
I mean, obviously, he's looking at something way in the future. They don't want to go that far into the future.
Yeah.
Obviously, he wanted to use different actors. Lucasfilm wanted to take the actors that we know and bring them back, because that would bring people back to watch the movies. I mean, I get it, but I'm still interested in where that story could have gone. So hopefully, somewhere in the future, we do still get that story.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, who knows? And I wonder how much of this story is being used as well. Like we're saying that this story is the one that they're going with Rey for the 15 years later, right? With the new Jedi stuff.
Yes.
So I mean, I wonder how much of this they actually are using, because like
Yeah, I would
before,
imagine there probably is some
well,
content that they were
they
able to pull from it.
they brought in Stephen Knight, right? He's the
Yeah.
writer. He's the writer who didn't write anything on this thing, right?
Yeah.
But he's
He's the writer
in
brought
this.
on.
He's
to
the
not
writer
write.
brought on, right? So I don't know. Like, are they changing some stuff? Like, did they bring him on to change some of the writing, or like,
Well,
who knows?
I think they said he's pretty much writing a story to fit that time period.
So he's writing another one. Like I didn't.
Well, it's like I said. I mean, that's kind of where they cut it off. So, is he basically just rewriting this whole thing from scratch? Is he writing it to fit the 15-year timeline, but with some of the story elements from what Lindelof had?
Right.
We don't know. I know another part of the rumors that were going around was part where they were saying that Lindelof didn't get along with the director either. So that was another part of the problem. That's rumor. That's hearsay. I don't really want to go too far into that.
Yeah.
But you do hear a lot of that, and that's the
you hear. Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the biggest problem that we've had with Lucasfilm is you get too much of that. Where, oh well, we don't get along with this director. We don't like this guy. This guy we have differences with. It just seems to be too much of the story of the day with what's going on there. And I mean, I don't care. Just
yeah, it does seem like a whole lot of drama sometimes, for sure.
It's at the end of the day, it's just pull it together and make some good content so we can enjoy it.
It's kind of tiring to hear it, because you hear it quite a bit, especially with like the rumors going around with how Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni don't see eye to eye anymore. And like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, there would be no way that they're keeping all these stories going together, like, and they don't see eye to eye, like, or they don't like each other, or like, come on, like, give me a break, like,
or the next day there's an interview with the two of them and they're talking like,
and they're sitting
like they're the best of friends.
Like,
it's like, wait, no.
But they're praising each other. They praised each other, like when at Celebration, like they like Jon Favreau praised the heck out of Filoni. Like, there's no way. Like, come on, like.
Yeah, I guarantee a lot of the drama is just like
it's media brought up.
Yeah,
like,
clickbait, right?
Like,
clickbait. Yeah. It's true.
It's politics. That's it. That's
People love
left wing, right wing. Like, it's
dirty laundry. Yeah.
Oh man, people eat it up. People eat it up, man. And then they just forward to like their 10 friends, and then they're like, here you go. Oh, Filoni hates Favreau. Oh my goodness. And then it's like a giant headline. Like, you're like, oh,
gets sensationalized, and
yeah. It's like I said. At the end of the day, I don't care. Just suck it up and make me some good Star Wars.
Let's get more Star Wars. Suck it up. Shut up. Make some good stories. Like, let's go.
So
let's move on.
Yeah.
And move on we shall.
And move on we shall.
So let's go to the next story. It's a weird story, but I can kind of see both sides of it. Somebody was interviewing Tamira Morrison. Obviously, he currently plays Boba Fett. Every clone in the Star Wars universe,
and hopefully Rex and Ahsoka,
which would be awesome if we could see it.
I would love to see that.
But we'll see when we get there. He's been going on talking about how he's under the idea that Star Wars is going to be suffering some cutbacks, which. On one side, you look at it, it's like, this is a multi-billion-dollar company that's just raking in money left and right. I don't see it. But then again, he starts to make some points, and it's like, maybe you're onto something here. I mean, one of the things that he mentions is, I was supposed to be in Mandalorian Season 3, and then suddenly I was cut out of it. Okay, they maybe didn't want to pay him to do that part. Okay, I could see that cutback. I mean, that okay, maybe I can understand that as part of it, but so far it's just sounding like you're a little.
It
But
sounds like an emotional reaction. That's all it sounds.
yeah, it sounds like you're a little
Yeah.
butthurt because you didn't get to play again.
Exactly. Like, I want to be in this flagship show. Get me in. Like, I want to be in
Yeah.
this.
And
But
also
Wah,
too,
wah.
like sometimes that happens. Like they're making a movie, they cut a lot of stuff when they make movies. So if they knew they were gonna cut it before they put it in, then it's like, why put it in, right?
I
but then again, as the story goes on, it starts to point out a couple things, and it's like, okay, I mean, and I'm just gonna read this as I see it. It says, in addition to this cutback, 2 Star Wars movies, Rogue Squadron and an untitled film from Kevin Feige, are no longer in development. And Willow, the Disney Plus TV series, has not been renewed for a second season, despite the interest from viewers. And for non-Star Wars content, Disney Plus has canceled National Treasure: Edge of History after just 1 season. The show followed a young female adventurer on the hunt for mysteries and discovering lost truths, similar to Nick Cage in the film franchise. I'm starting to look at that. It's like, okay, Willow I could see because I mean everybody I talked to that watched it loved it, and I haven't watched it, but Willow just wasn't.
It was good. I didn't. I had just watched the movie. Like, I had never seen the movie.
Oh,
It
really?
was one of those
Okay.
things I'd never seen. So I was like, well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch the. You gotta watch the movie before you watch the show. I was like, okay, well, I'll watch the
Yeah.
movie, which was good. I obviously, and then the show. I mean, obviously the name drops and all this stuff. You need to know certain things about that movie for the show,
Yeah.
right? So, but it was. I liked. I enjoyed it. Like,
The movie for me is like a huge classic. I watched it probably 100 times as a young
oh really?
lad.
Okay,
But
cool.
and also there was a video game I played a lot of that video
Okay.
game at the arcade and stuff. It was pretty awesome. And for me, I didn't really like the show. I could tell it wasn't aimed at at me specifically. It was like there's a lot of like teeny bopper music type
Well,
thing put into it and stuff. And I'm like, all right, I can see how the people would like this, but it's not really my thing per se. But I did watch the whole thing, and I liked the effects, the graphic effects. I think they did a really great job and all that kind of stuff. But maybe just not specifically my cup of tea.
I think it was. I think the TV show was made a little too late because, like, if you know what I mean, like the movie was in the 80s. This is like 30 what 30 whatever it was 30 years later, and they're making a TV show that follows it. But I don't know. Like, I think the way that society is now, it doesn't. It probably didn't. Uh, uh, like, it didn't have a
Doesn't have that strong of a connection to
with a
the
lot of people.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, obviously the diehard fans of Willow the movie, obviously, well, I mean, minus yourself, I guess. I don't know. Maybe there's a few more that thought that it didn't really hit with them as well, but
Well,
a
it
lot of
seems
the
like
people
they
are excited
managed
about it.
Seems like they managed to hit the mass market pretty well though, because that had a pretty big success. That show,
Right.
like,
Yeah, and like I said,
pretty huge.
from reading this, people wanted a season 2, so
Mhm.
there was definitely enough interest there, and they said, no, we're just not going to do it.
Yeah,
So I mean, maybe, like I said, as I read that, I could see where I can kind of see where he's going with the idea of there's going to be cutbacks.
Yeah, but the
At
only
the
thing
same
that I can see in
time,
that, I don't know. Like, he's pointing out what a Rogue Squadron movie that never was put into motion. Which movies it happens all the time. Like,
yeah, it
comes out
does.
whatever. Like 2 movies that were said that were going to go into development that didn't happen. Okay, whatever. And then Willow. Okay, I can see that one for sure. Like, people loved it. National Treasure was garbage, in my opinion. Didn't
I
like it.
don't know.
I hated it.
I don't know. It was all right.
I hated
I mean,
it.
it
Oh
wasn't.
gosh.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It wasn't like
Good lord.
all-time great movie, but I mean,
No.
but what do you expect from Nicolas Cage?
Nope. Yeah, it was not. I like
I
Nick,
like
Nick Cage, man, but like it didn't have the same feel. Like I love the movies. The movies are good, right? And I don't know what it was. Like maybe it was Nick Cage. I don't know. Like it was just the whole thing. But I don't know. Like they it feel like they try to mimic what happened in the movies, try to do the kind of the same thing, but with young kids, and you're like, it doesn't really, like you said, it doesn't fit. It's not aimed at me.
Oh, so you watched the series?
What? I did. I watched the
Oh, okay,
series.
okay, no,
And I'm saying I didn't like it.
okay, my mistake. Because when you said it
Pretty
first,
much the same thing
I
as
thought you
what
meant the
I feel
movies.
about
I'm like,
Willow.
wait, but the movies weren't that bad.
No. I love the movies. No. Let's not. National Treasure, Edge of History. Let's make this clear. Edge of History, the TV show that was on Disney Plus, that got canceled, was garbage. Didn't like it. Hated it.
Okay, that's fair.
Didn't like it. Love the movies. Nick Cage, those movies are great. You know, but okay, maybe I'm using strong words. Garbage. I don't know. Like, but I didn't.
Hey, I didn't see it. Maybe it
I
is
didn't
garbage.
like it. Like and it was like
Yeah.
you said. It wasn't aimed. Willow wasn't aimed towards you.
Yeah.
This wasn't aimed towards me. Like I'm not
Right.
a big fan of. Like, and that's what it is. Like a lot of these shows are younger.
It seems like that
kids,
does
younger
happen
actors.
a
You're
lot
like,
these days.
maybe I'm
like,
just getting
even-
old, guys. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel you. Yeah, that's how I felt watching it. I'm like, oh man, I feel old watching this. Like, I'm like, and it's kind of funny though. I feel like that's kind of a recurring theme with some of the things that I like the book series Shannara. I don't know if you guys know about that or have heard of it or anything, but it's a very big, expansive fantasy series, and they eventually did make a TV show, and it was like teenage, um, teenage drama, like just very disconnected from what it was supposed to be. Like the main characters had like this love triangle going on. I'm like, this is not in any of the books. Like you're just like making it into like something for teenagers, right? So it's unfortunate.
Sorry, I got a little heated, guys. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Like I don't know. Like I honestly, this cutback thing, it's just, I think it's inflated a little bit, to be honest. How do you justify? I mean, okay, yeah, like you lost over 300 million on Lightyear, and animated Strange World was bombed at bombed at the box office, but this company's making like, for every 300 million they lose, they're making like 900 to $1 billion, like just in revenue and whatever. Like
and
what
big
like,
companies like that make all kinds of random cutbacks.
Doesn't make sense,
anyways.
like-
Like it's just part of their
I think he's just butthurt.
business model.
Well, I think that's what
Just
it comes
bummer.
down to is just that. I mean, one of the things of corporate America I've learned is when you could be making all the money in the world, but you have that one bad thing, and that's the thing that they'll drone on for a while, and so it'll give you the impression that well, we had a bad movie here, we lost $300 million. Ooh, things we're gonna there's gonna be a lot of trouble going on around here now, while not realizing, okay, this one made $1 billion, this one made 1.5 billion, this right here made another 900 million. You only focus on the bad, you don't focus on the good so much.
And I think that's what they're doing. That's all they're doing.
And well, no, but I'm saying that's kind of what it is, and okay, so a couple bad things happen, so they're going to cut back and they're going to make things, they're going to get rid of things. Well, I mean, there's going to be cutbacks anyway, so it is what it is. But
It's a business. Yep.
Yeah.
but I mean, as far as current Star Wars projects, like the Disney Plus projects that have been announced, I don't see any of those going away.
No.
I think at this point, the Star Wars movies that are listed, they better not go away, because you have an audience that is hardcore fiending for a movie right now, and they don't want to hear, oh well, we had creative differences with this guy, this movie isn't going to happen, and we're not going to see another one until 2029. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody's going to accept it. Just again, suck it up and make me some content.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants another Rogue Squadron incident, because a lot of us were excited for this Rogue Squadron thing, and we're not saying that it's totally canceled. Like, I think there possibly could be. I'm still hoping for it's put on the back burner for now, but like, people were so excited about it, and I could care less about the Kevin Feige one, whatever. Like, that nobody was as excited as the Rogue Squadron one. I was super excited for. I know you were.
Oh,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean? Like, right. So, but the only thing that I can see with, like, if there was cutbacks, I mean, obviously Star Wars is it feels like Star Wars is the gem of Disney right now. Like, Star Wars is the booming thing. Marvel's taken a backseat, I think. So
Yeah,
the only
fair.
thing I could see that, like, Star Wars is taking the front seat of this, and everything else is being cut back. That's what I can see. That's what I'm kind of getting out of that, on top of Morrison being a little butthurt about not being brought into Mandalorian. That's all I can see, if that's what they're complaining about.
Right.
But I don't know. Mostly he's butthurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we all agree on that.
Because obviously the interview was with him, so.
But yeah, let's get to the next story.
Yeah.
Which is kind of an interesting story, because we went into Star Wars Celebration, and we had our big announcement for the 3 movies that are coming out. Obviously, our Dave Filoni movie, our Dawn of the Jedi movie with James Mangold, which I'm definitely excited for. And this Rey movie with what is her name? Obaid Chinoy. It's gonna be directing it.
Chinoy.
Yeah.
Obaid Chinoy.
But
Can I interrupt for 1 sec? Did you guys get a chance to check out an episode of Miss Marvel? Remember last time we were talking about that? I was saying it's directed by her, and if you check it out, you'll get some insight into what I think that movie's going to be kind of like.
I have not had a chance, but
Right.
but it is still on my mind, and I did remember that you said it. So at some point, I will get that.
It has a certain style that, like, whenever I hear stuff about that movie, I kind of like think of that show. So, anyways, I recommend checking it out, at least just to see the vibe.
Like I said, I mean, I haven't forgotten, so at some point I will.
Sounds good.
But one of the big things that was left out was obviously Kevin Feige, who we had still thought might be working on his project. We heard nothing, so we then found out along the way he's no longer working on his project. Obviously, like you said, Rogue Squadron is on the shelf. It's as of right now, it's not happening. But we were also under the impression, walking out of Celebration, that Taika Waititi's movie was going on as well, and it was like, okay, well, that kind of sucks. Because I think I would be interested in a Taika Waititi Star Wars movie.
I would for sure, yeah.
They went and they talked to Kathleen Kennedy afterwards, and I'm actually going to read this because it's her quote in Variety magazine, and it said, Taika is still working away. He's writing the script himself. He doesn't really want to bring others into that process, and I don't blame him. He has a very, very unique voice, so we want to protect that, and that's what he's doing. But we're going to make that one day. Kind of cryptic. I mean, I think I'm being nice by saying it that way. So it was like,
bit,
it's, I mean, okay, so we might get this movie in 10 years, 15 years down the line. I don't know. Obviously, he's a very busy guy. I understand. He's got a lot of projects going on right now.
Well, he's also very like artsy, like he's a big deal, and I think that's kind of what she means. She's like, yeah, let him have his process. Like it's like this high art type of mentality.
Yeah. So last week, he does an interview with Deadline magazine, and I forget what he was promoting. Some movie. But the question of the Star Wars movie came up, and he said, "Yeah, not only am I working on it, but he's excited about his movie, and he's quote unquote committed to directing it next year." It's like, okay, so wait a minute, we just went from this thing is completely on the shelf to we'll eventually get to it to I'm ready to go next year with this.
Yeah.
Wait, wait, what? So, I mean, I kind of don't know where to go with this. I mean, we've heard a little bit of everything about this without really hearing anything about this. Um, Number one, like I said, if he's making a Star Wars movie, I'm excited for it. I'm kind of curious as to what he's making a Star Wars movie about now.
Yeah, me too. Well, especially too, I don't know if you guys remember this. There was that thing where he forgot that Natalie Portman was in Star Wars movies. There was like that interview where he's like, "Would you ever do a project for Star Wars?" And she's like, yeah, I am in Star Wars."
Yeah, I remember that.
But you don't know if that's a joke or not. Like,
Yeah,
it's
true.
I mean, it could be like an inside joke.
But that kind of like led me down a rabbit hole of thinking like, oh, that'd be really cool if there was like a Galactic Republic new thing with Padme or something. I doubt it, but maybe.
I mean, at the same time, it also sounds like something that plays into his brand of humor as well. So,
yeah, I think that's more likely right there. The movie that it says something Akira, I think, is that the name that he's directing next or
yeah, I think
that.
that's the one that's coming up
here.
next. But the one
As
I
in,
think
like,
he was talking
Akira,
about,
like the anime.
Well, it says it's an adaptation of what Clara and the Sun or something like that.
Okay.
I'm trying to read. I'm trying to read it here while you guys are discussing that.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering because Akira is like the first Japanese anime to come to the USA back in the day. Was called Akira.
Kazuo Ishiguro, Clara and the Sun. I don't know. Anyways, that's what it says here.
I mean, considering it's Taika Waititi, it wouldn't surprise me if that was what it was supposed to be.
But I think, I mean, I know when Celebration hit, we were all expecting to hear that. Obviously, we were all expecting because what TD1 was going to be part of that announcement or whatever it is, and it didn't happen. But then, I think we kind of went over it, stating that these movies that were announced were out of production or they're going into production or whatever it is, and we were kind of like, well, maybe he's still writing it and it's not in pre-production or it's not ready to go yet, right? So this kind of confirms that it is, but it is kind of weird that he's like, yeah, we're getting this going next year, boys. Like, okay, well, like,
Yeah,
That's
I mean?
pretty
Like,
crazy.
it's like he's got. I mean, obviously he's very confident in his work that he thinks that it's probably gonna, or maybe he's further along than we think he is, whereas nobody knows what he's doing. He's doing it by himself, like.
Yeah, nobody's privy to how much progress
right,
he has.
and maybe he's not telling them everything, like obviously. So I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me, but I don't know. Like if they're planning to get these other movies going, the Dave Filoni one is not going to go anytime soon. Like, so maybe this one bumps in there somewhere. Something could get pushed. This could bump in, right?
Well, I think there's still a lot of setup for Filoni. So
for sure, and that's why I think like his movie here, I think could probably pop into that timeline, like with the movies coming out or whatever. Like he could be bumped in there instead of maybe he gets bumped before this Ray one, or maybe I don't know. Like you never know. Anything can happen with the movies. Like we were saying, like anything can happen. Like
Yeah, I mean, it would make things interesting because I know even James Mangold, he was saying, I had another project that was the Swamp Thing project. He's going to be working on, and he was sitting there saying, I kind of want to do a Star Wars movie before I get into that project. I was like, okay, so you're actually that was supposed to be your Swamp Thing was supposed to be your next project. Now you want to push it out. Okay, I'm all for you bringing Star Wars in next.
Yeah, bring it on.
Yeah,
Right.
do it.
Yeah. And so like I know we're gonna get to the Vision stuff after this or whatever, but I'm kind of curious because we're you're talking about he's artsy and all this stuff or whatever it is. And we've seen his Thor movies, right? They're pretty out there in color. So I'm just wondering, like,
Actually, 17.
are they giving him full like I'm curious on how far they're gonna give him, like how much
creative
liberty that they're gonna give him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I mean,
I am very
obviously
curious about that too.
he's had success with these Thor movies, whether you liked them or not. Because I know there's been, especially the last one was kind of right, but like
he kind of puts like a
have
comedic edge on those two movies, so I'd be curious to see if that's kind of the direction
and the bright colors and the you're like, is this going to be in a Star Wars movie? Like, so I am curious to see what it is. But I mean, like bringing up the Vision stuff, like I feel like it's going to be a story, not obviously linked. I mean, it'll be in the timeline somewheres. And I think these Vision shows are somewheres in that timeline. It's just stories off wherever. But I'm kind of curious to see like if it's going to be something far off, like one of these Vision shows.
Yeah, like a fully separate
but anyways,
realm type of thing.
It is curious. I am very curious, but I guess we'll have to see.
Well, hopefully we'll get some information soon. And like I said, I'm looking forward to it.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
But the last bit of news I wanted to get into, which is actually some good news for this week. Obviously, May the 4th hit this past week on Thursday, and Carrie Fisher officially got her star on the Walk of Fame on Thursday.
Yep.
And I think well deserved. Very happy to see that she got it, and unfortunately she wasn't here to see it herself. But yeah, I mean, I just think it's a bit of good news. Obviously, if you're a Star Wars fan, she's always gonna have a place in your heart. So.
I like the fact that they put her star like right across the street from her mother. Like they tried to make it as close as they could to her mother, which is really, really cool.
Nice.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, I didn't even see that part, but
yeah, I'm just reading that now.
It's kind of crazy though if you think about it. That's a long time since like the original Star Wars movies that she was in and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like how long ago was that? Like 40 years ago?
Well, I mean,
77 was the first one.
Yeah, I mean,
70? Is that what you said?
77 was the first one.
77. Okay. Yeah.
But it's like even thinking back, I mean, she didn't really do a lot. I mean, she was more of a writer.
Star Wars, yeah.
Well, she did Star Wars. Obviously, she was in the Blues Brothers. I guess. I mean, it's the Blues Brothers. How can you not know a great movie like that? But outside of that, I mean, there's not much that I can think of that she was in. I mean, and obviously she went and became a writer after that.
Yeah. Well, she it says so you said Blues Brothers, and it says When Harry Met Sally.
I didn't even,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, I didn't even realize that one.
But yeah,
Yeah.
there's people on like the Walk of Fame that are in one movie. You know what I mean? Like as long as it's a big enough movie, which I would say Star Wars fits that bill. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
like Rocky, or I guess that's multiple films, but it's one role. You know what I mean? Same type of thing. He didn't like at the time he made the Walk of Fame. That's more or less. Or I guess he had that in Rambo, and then eventually went on to do more stuff, Stallone. But like, pretty sure he was put on there like after making one film.
It's funny because when you think of Stallone, it's like all the action movies he made and all the movies where it's like people just kind of made fun of the guy for the way he acted, the way he talked, and everything. And but he was a great action star. And
Oh,
you start
legend.
watching, and you start watching some of the stuff he does now, and it's like now in the past 5 years, he's become a legitimately good actor in the last 5 years.
He's done a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's man. Yeah. I know there's a few things I want to get to watch of his stuff, like that. What is it? He's a mob boss.
Yeah,
So I can't remember.
yeah. I don't
Oh,
know the
yeah.
name of it, but I kind of want to watch it. It's like
Yeah.
it looks interesting.
Yeah.
There's a really cheesy show that I recently watched that he's in where he's like I can't really say much about it without giving away much of the movie, but it's like basically he's like seems like just a normal guy on the street, but really he's like this superhero and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah, the Samaritan.
Yeah, Samaritan.
Yeah. Where he's a retired hero that
Mhm.
works normally, and
Yeah.
something happens, and blah blah blah. He has to come back.
Have you guys seen it
But
or no?
no, but it's one of the
uh,
ones
Oh,
I wanted to. Yeah, I
yeah,
haven't
yeah.
watched it yet.
I think I've seen the preview for it, and that's as far as I've gotten.
Yeah.
It's cheesy, but I don't want to like say too much about it in case you guys do get a chance to watch it. Because
Oh, I
if
will.
I say
Yeah.
anything, it give
That's
away a lot of twists and
Don't
stuff.
spoil.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, don't be a spoiler. Put the spoiler alert up. Go, put it up. I'll turn off my headphones. No.
You see him off in the corner, la 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 la.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Alright.
yeah, no, it was very obviously it is an overdue honor, as the title says. It's very overdue.
Mhm.
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely.
Yeah, I'll be right
And
back, guys. I gotta grab a drink.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it does suck. Like, it does suck that some of these things have to happen. You know, it's same with like Heath Ledger when Heath passed away. Like he gets that award that he got after he passed away and all that stuff. Like the guy was a legitimate, amazing actor. Like he was so good at his talent. Like
Yeah, good actor, and
very
he
good.
found
like,
he found his role.
right. So it sucks that it happens, but it just shows how much love this character meant to people. Is three. I mean, she was in obviously, like, I guess 5 movies. I guess Princess Leia.
Right.
But just I think it meant a lot. Especially to young girls and just females in general, like all that stuff. Strong woman especially from that time too. Like,
Yeah, I mean, and it's in a time period where there were none.
yeah, it was. I mean, there was probably a few, but it was very, a small portion, right? And like she blew up for sure. Like very iconic.
Yeah.
Like, so
Yeah,
I mean,
that's one thing-
overdue, but yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing that always bothered me is you get a lot of these. You get a lot of people talking about the newer Star Wars, and it's like, yeah, now we finally have. And they look at Rey, and it's like, yeah, now we have a strong female character. It's like, did you guys not realize Princess Leia was there 40 years ago, doing all of
Right,
this?
yeah.
It's like,
for sure. Like,
but again, another podcast, maybe.
There's a lot of another podcast that we
Yeah,
can do.
yeah. So, but definitely covers an. I think that covers our news.
Yeah. I think the news went a little longer than we thought.
Yeah,
But
that was that for like
But it's
a
good though.
small little
Yeah.
blurb
For
on the notes. It did, you know, take some
five
time.
little notes, and it turns into that's a good discussion. Good discussion, guys. Good
For
discussion.
sure.
yeah, but I think it's again. It's,
I think it's important.
It's a wonderful thing.
Oh yeah,
honestly,
good
like,
stories, absolutely.
It's
Nothing
very
wrong
important.
with it.
Like, I know a lot of people. I mean, for me, I don't read a lot of news, like in general. So, when somebody is, discussing it a little bit more, because I won't read it, but I'll listen to like podcasts and I'll listen to whatever. Like I'll listen to other people talk. So I mean, it's always nice to have people give the information, a little bit.
Well, it's good to know what's going on with the world of Star Wars, especially considering we do this. But at the same time, hardest part is just weeding out what's good and what's not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I mean,
because there is a lot of fake news out there.
so obviously we're gonna go through the news segments unless it's like something where we can obviously verify it, like the Taika Waititi thing where it was directly out of his interview in Deadline magazine, where that's what he said. You gotta take some of what we say with a grain of salt. I mean, we're not saying that it's bona fide news, but yeah, maybe it is.
If so, you heard it here first. No, I'm just joking.
I'm gonna be just give me a second, guys. I'll be right back.
All right.
Let's get that little toot 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 toot.
Yeah. Breaking news. This just in.
All right. So, also this week we did May 4th, like I said, and we had Star Wars Visions come out. Star Wars Visions Season 2.
Right, that's right.
And we also had, what was it, Young Jedi Adventures?
Yeah.
Came out.
Jedi Adventures, yeah.
And then, like I said, like I was showing you right before we started the podcast, there was a little Simpsons blurb with Maggie. I didn't get to watch it, but I definitely want to go watch it. Probably either tonight before I go to bed or tomorrow at some point.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna peep that this weekend. Check it out sometime.
Yeah. The one thing I didn't really watch the Young Jedi Adventures, but I did watch the little shorts that they did.
Right, yeah.
Like
I
the
did
little
see
first
those.
season, they're like 4 minutes long each. It wasn't bad. I mean, obviously it's meant for a younger audience,
Right.
so I get it. I mean, so it's not like deep stuff that I'm really craving to know about Star Wars. But at the end of the day, it was fun. I mean, I understood what it was. Kids are gonna love it.
Yeah, the Young Jedi Adventures. Main reason I watched like 3 episodes or something before I fell asleep last night, and the main reason I wanted to check it out is kind of just to see what kind of version of Star Wars the kids these days are gonna be getting, right? So I wanted to see how it's represented and stuff, and yeah, it's kind of cool. Like it's good enough. It's cool little stories for kids and stuff, and Yoda's in there. They make him look really young. I don't know if it's maybe supposed to be in the era of like what's it called? High Republic. Yeah, they don't really go into it too much as far as what era it is, but yeah, they do kind of make him look young. So I'm curious if it is that era. But yeah, it's interesting. I think it gives a better version of Star Wars than Lego Star Wars.
Yeah,
Like to me,
I could see that.
yeah, because to me, Lego Star Wars just like kind of turns everything. Like it takes Palpatine, makes him like the funniest comedian in the galaxy right there.
So it's more like a parody with Lego.
Yeah, more like a parody. Yeah, exactly. Whereas, so far they haven't really touched on canon stuff in it, so that's good to me. So it's good.
Like I said, I mean, I'm probably gonna check them out, but um, like I said,
Just to satisfy the curiosity, right?
yeah,
Gotta
more
see.
to satisfy curiosity, but it looks like it'll be a fun thing to watch. So I'll definitely pick it up. Whether or not we cover it here, that's another story. But
You never know. That's kind of why I watched Clone Wars back in the day. I didn't know, like, I thought it was just a kids show, and I was like, I would like to see what kids are watching these days. That's Star Wars, and then I realized it, you know, eventually does start going into some pretty deep canon stuff, and you're like, this is a really awesome show.
yeah,
Well, you never know, right? You could possibly get out of these young Jedi adventures. You could get a juicy little nugget or two.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it could be whatever. It's something that just like a name drop or something. Even like a name drop would be pretty cool. But it just depends on the era too, right? So like you were saying, like it seems like a younger Yoda possibly.
Mhm.
So could be early
yeah, it
on
could be.
High Republic or something, right? So
Mhm. But yeah, I think from what I understand too, Clone Wars kind of was that way. They started it as something for the younger audience, that it was just supposed to be very lighthearted and stuff, but then they realized that the Star Wars fans were watching it based on, reactions to it. And then that's when they started to work in more of the deeper canon type directions for the episodes and stuff.
I feel like
So,
they
well,
could use it as a bridge. Like they realized early
mhm,
on, they're like, oh man, we can start bridging gaps that
mhm,
was left from the movies and stuff, right? So
but
yeah,
I mean, I think that's the best part of it was, I mean, you go back to '77. I mean, you're listening to Obi-Wan Kenobi talking about, well, I fought in the Clone Wars with your father. All the way back there, we're talking about the Clone Wars. People have been wondering about the Clone Wars since this whole thing started. Now suddenly we're going to come out with a cartoon about the Clone Wars, and it's directed at kids. Okay, well, maybe there's something there anyway that I could watch. And as they realized, yeah, we really could dig into this story because, hey, guess what? People really do want to know about this story.
mhm,
And and as you guys saw, I mean, there was so much to cover, and it wasn't just the stories of Obi-Wan, Anakin.
yeah,
It covered countless Jedi that we talked about and
yeah.
brought in, countless clones that were brought in,
And
and
bounty hunter layers and yeah, all kinds of stuff.
and it, it just got better and better as it went on.
Mhm. And the
So
Mandalore stuff and all that too. So much going on in that show for sure.
yeah, I mean, all that. We got into the criminal underworld. We got into. There was just so much there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we'll ever get a animated series that goes that deep again.
Well, yeah, when I first started watching it, I didn't even realize how expansive it was. And at the time, it was on Netflix, and I pulled it up, and it said whatever, like seven or what is it, three
this
seasons at first, or before they had the final season. But
it
each
was
one was
six.
like,
Yeah, it was
okay,
6 seasons.
six
Six
seasons
seasons, and
with
then the
like
seventh season was the
what,
last one.
like 22 episodes each or something like that.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
yeah,
whoa, that's a lot.
long series.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I got some watching ahead of me here.
And like I said, each season got better and better. I mean,
Yeah.
because I still talk to people now, and they're like, "Well, this show sucks. You're in season 1. You're still at episode 3 of season 1. Fight your way through episode."
Give your head a shake, bud.
Yeah.
But it's like number 1, season 1 wasn't the best. Fight your way through it. Trust me,
Yeah.
you'll thank me later. Season 2
Yeah.
gets better. Season 3 gets better. Season 4 gets better. Season 5 is absolutely amazing. you're yeah.
Yep.
Get past your 2 seconds of I can't stand this. I mean,
Yeah.
I started with the movie. The movie was horrid.
Yeah. There was a couple of cool scenes in it, but it definitely was like very aimed at a younger audience once again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, they hopefully somebody listened and kept going. I'll just leave it at that.
If you haven't watched Clone Wars, watch it, man. Come on. What are you
Yeah.
doing with your life?
Just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah, it's good
We
stuff.
might get sued. We might get sued for that.
No, I don't think they use that one anymore. It's
Oh.
a past one.
Oh, good. Okay.
I think. I could be wrong.
Yeah, unless Shia LaBeouf is coming to sue us for it afterwards. Alright, so that being said, let's get into Star Wars Visions. Season 2.
Spoiler alert up.
You are correct.
Did we have that for the Mando thing?
No, I forgot.
It's been like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I don't think.
All right.
Whatever. Like, if you haven't watched it by now, I don't know. Like,
yeah. Well, one
God,
thing I
tell
found out, like with my stream, I at one point was talking about Mando season 2 when it was out, and somebody was like, "Yeah, it's not even out in my country, dude," and I was like, "Oh, whoops." So yeah, I think some countries do have later releases
I get
than
it.
us.
I mean, I know some people don't buy Disney Plus either and don't have a way around watching it.
Mhm.
So I get that too. I don't know. I know there's still people out there that haven't watched it, but the majority of people have seen it. Like, I don't know. I think, but anyways, just spoiler alert.
Yeah, it works.
So yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so Star Wars Visions obviously came out on May the 4th. Consists of 9 more short films. The previous volume, which was season 1, was all Japanese anime. This year, they brought in different animation studios. It says here from Japan, India, United Kingdom, Ireland, Spain, Chile, France, South Africa, South Korea, and the United States. Yeah, they did, and it was, you could see the differences in every one of these.
Yeah, I thought some of them there was very prominent. Some of them a
Whoa.
little bit less, a little bit more subtle, but some of them it was like, oh yeah, this is, yeah, you can tell, right?
Well, I think like this is the way to go too, like, because I know the rumor is they've already started looking ahead with volume 3, what they're going to bring in for volume 3, right? So I think the studios from around the world rather than one spot is the way to go, and I think this will be a big thing for studios too. Like, oh, Disney's looking for a studio to make a little short. Oh man, let's like, then the competition starts going, right? I'm curious how they pick. I'm curious like what process they go through to pick whatever. Do they pick the studio first and then whatever, or they make something short, they're gonna send it to them like, okay, you got it, you make something for us, I know obviously these guys have like their portfolios and whatever they stuff they've done. I guess they could go by that as well, but I'm just curious.
Yeah,
how
I
the
know
process
with the first season they basically went with the 9 biggest animators of Japan, like the most successful,
Okay.
Yeah.
most well decorated animation studios. So
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not sure exactly what the process for season 2 and for the future looks like, but
And if I do remember correctly, I'd have to go look it back up, but if I remember right, Lucasfilm did have a deal with Studio Ghibli or I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I believe they are the biggest one. And I don't know what the intention is for them to come up with. I don't know if maybe that's just a head thing for a season 3 or what. But I do remember seeing something about them working together on some project. I'm sure we'll find out soon. I don't know.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to preface before we get into these is these are shorts, these are from different companies. None of this is canon. These are just stories within the Star Wars universe that these different studios just wanted to bring in their own interpretations, and they're interesting. I just leave
But
it
man,
at that.
some of them could be. Some of them could be
Yeah, there
incorporated
is
in the. Oh man, it's so cool.
there is some that feel closer to canon than
Oh
others
man,
for sure.
Absolutely,
Oh
absolutely.
man,
Yeah.
it's so good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that being said, let's get into episode 1. It was named Sith. It's by El Giri Studios. And it basically goes like this. Lola, a former Sith apprentice, lives in solitude with her droid, trying to finish a painting, but cannot seem to wipe away the darker smudges that keep forming. She is suddenly visited by her former Sith master, who has tried to find her for quite some time and chases her down and is forced to fight him while he insists that she is to become the new Sith master. Lola comes to the realization that she needs to accept both light and dark halves, and promptly defeats the Sith Master with her double-edged lightsaber, which now produces a yellow and red blade. Now in control of her own destiny, Lola finishes the painting and finally leaves the planet. Now, El Giri Studios is based out in Madrid, Spain, founded by Rodrigo Blas and Cecile Hoeks, and it specializes in pre-production for high-end CG animation. They're best known for their work on Troll Hunters, Wall-E, Up, and Finding Nemo. Obviously a big studio. They definitely have worked on some massive projects.
Yeah. I think it's just that guy though that has worked on those. Like their studio, I think, is fairly newer, but the creative head of it is that Rodrigo Blas, and he's the one who worked on those things.
Okay.
Okay.
So, but yeah, very interesting episode. What did you guys think?
Personally,
Man, it's a good way to kick it off.
Yeah, it was a good way to kick off. It was an interesting story. Personally, I found it, to me, it felt like it was missing something though. I don't know what. It's like I can't put my finger on it, and I've watched it twice now, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't know what it is. It's good. I'm not saying it's bad in any way, because it was good. I feel like there's still something else that needed to be there to really make me say yes, this is the thing I wanted to watch. But I want to say, as I went through, I was sitting there, like taking, like, I was making little Twitter posts about them as I was going through them. And I want to say I gave this one like a 7.5 out of 10.
Nice. Yeah, one thing for me is like the color scheme. It was all very like cool and very artsy and stuff, like very eye-catching and stuff. Like lots of cool effects were used and stuff like that. But it didn't necessarily feel very Star Wars per se until we started getting the like once the Sith Master and the lightsaber fight and stuff.
Yeah.
That part felt really Star Warsy, but the like landscape, it was like very like a whitewashed background with splashes of color and everything. So very cool effects, but didn't necessarily feel as Star Wars as some of the other episodes to me.
I thought as the episode was moving along, as she was like leaving the place and going to her masterpiece or whatever she was painting there at the, I honestly felt it was like a test or something. I didn't feel, it felt more like a dream in the beginning. I'm like, is she dreaming? Is this like a Because I mean, you look at the title, it's like Sith. Okay, well, obviously she's either, I don't know, she's definitely a Force user for sure. Um, and like, is this like a test in like a Jedi temple or a Sith temple? Like, because it seemed dreamy. So is this like a, you know, is this something that she's going
Like a
through that she
vision
test like,
quest kind of
yeah,
thing.
something like that. In the beginning it did anyways, and then it
Hmm.
started to like not, and you're like, okay, I guess this is what's happening, I guess. So
She
um
had a pretty cool droid and speeder.
oh man, with
What did you guys think of that?
the speeder
Yeah.
reminded me of General Grievous's speeder.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Just without the legs, I guess. But
Hmm.
that's what that reminded me of. And man, that droid, like this is like I'm pretty sure, because I had mentioned it to my buddy. I was like, he doesn't have wheels or nothing. Like this is the first, like, I can't remember if there's been a droid that has legs. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's not many.
Yeah. But it also, I
Um,
think it could fly too, couldn't it? Like float
uh,
around or something?
I think
Or
so. I
maybe
thought
not. Because like
well,
I
no,
feel
because
like when she was evading or running from the Sith Master guy, um, it was like following her, but she was in that speeder, right? Or no,
I
maybe it
thought
was on her.
I thought he was on the speeder. I thought it
Might
was
have been
because
on her.
when they left, he was nestled into a little like crater inside the machine itself.
Yeah,
And
that's
same
what
with
I
the
thought it
spaceship,
was.
right? So
I
I
see.
don't think he
Or
flew,
maybe it
but
wasn't.
my gosh, I did not see the friggin' cannon that he blew the
Yeah.
head off that thing. But
Oh yeah.
That was awesome.
it surprised me. I was like, oh, what is he doing? He's bringing out a gun. Boom! And you're like, oh my
Yeah,
gosh, like
just like a laser ray bzz, takes it out.
you weren't expecting that, but then
And
like,
also
yeah.
those two other like whatever droids that he had. To me at first they didn't seem like droids. Like
Yeah.
I thought it was like three Sith coming at her, and
Yeah, that's
then
what I thought
and then
too.
eventually kind of realized that they were whatever, some
Well,
kind of
Sith
attack
droid or
droids.
something. Yeah, Sith
Yeah.
attack droids or something.
Yeah.
But man, that Sith, that Sith was cool, man. And then his voice, like he's talking, you're like, oh man. And then like
It's cool.
me and my buddy was like, he's like, man, that voice sounds familiar. Like, and I mean, he wasn't. Apparently he's like this. He's like a very well known voice actor in Spain.
Oh, okay.
From what my buddy was saying, he had to look it up. He's like, we gotta figure out who this guy is, and it's just like a well known voice actor in Spain, right? But like his voice was so ominous, it was so good.
It was.
I thought it was so super cool, man. Like right off the bat, badass friggin' Sith, man. Like it was really cool. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Like I'm with you. I'm like 7.5 to 8. Like it wasn't like, it was good, but it wasn't my favorite out of these. But it was a good way to start off that this volume 2, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Let's go on to episode 2. Who wants to read that one?
I got it.
Okay.
All right, episode 2, Screecher's Reach by Cartoon Salon. Yeah, Salon. Young girl seeking reprieve from her days in a rural workhouse discovers a legendary haunted cave with her friends. The cave's dark pull will change the trajectory of her life forever. These are like, this is like a, doesn't say the whole synopsis.
No,
It's in-
No,
it's
not
just
really.
more like it's more
Okay,
like
okay.
a teaser.
A
Not all of
teaser,
them though. Some of
and then
them
we
are
have
like
to. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So cartoons. Okay, so this one says saloon. Is it salon or saloon? Cartoon saloon.
it is. Oh,
It definitely. Anyway, it's cartoon saloon or salon.
saloon. It's
Saloon.
saloon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Irish animation studio. So right from the get go, like you can definitely tell it was Irish. It had like the accents, right? You're like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right off the bat.
Main
Um,
characters with the orange hair and everything. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and known for multiple Academy Award nominated films such as The Secret of the Kells and Wolfwalkers. It was founded by Paul Young, Tom Moore, and Nora Twomey in 1999. So it's an older company. Um, and it was different. Um,
Yeah, that one was
obviously,
kind of cool.
like when it first started, you're like, oh man, like this is like a kid work factory and all this stuff, and then just the animation itself was different for sure. Like it was a different
Yeah,
different feel
different
to it.
style.
Because I mean, you're expecting, like, I am, volume one, all the Japanese stuff, all the Japanese anime and stuff. You're like, okay, and then the first one of volume two, you're like, okay, this is it's a good start to it. And you're like, oh, this is different. And I know, and I know as the episodes go along, you're like, wow, like some of this is really like
Yeah, very, very different.
very different, right? But good
Yeah.
different, right?
Mhm.
But the thing
Yeah,
that
I
sticks
thought it
out in
was.
this, oh man, was
Oh,
that girl in the cave. Like the girl in the cave and that screaming. I told my buddy, I was like, that's gonna stick with me all night, man. That scream, like I'm gonna hear
yeah,
that in my sleep.
don't watch that one right before bed.
Oh man, I did, yeah.
But no, I thought the really awesome thing was at the beginning they give you this like message of hope where he's like, if you ever get a chance to break away from here, you do it, right? And then towards the end, you almost feel like, you know, she's going towards like being a bad guy, right? She's going
Yeah.
towards being a Sith. So he's kind of conflicted. He's like, it's kind of not what I meant, but at the same time, I have to feel good for her, like that she's getting out of this situation or whatever. So it was like, I don't know, it's kind of a neat emotion at the end to kind of flip it. Kind of reminded me of of Vision season 1 when we had those like mystery Jedi that were Sith,
Yeah, right.
stuff like that, right?
Yeah. I mean, for me, I actually like this. I like the story. I didn't like it as much as the first one.
Right.
But unlike the first one, if they came out with another chapter of it showing where she was a couple years down the line, I'd be down to watch it. It's kind of the way I felt going through this. It's like at the end, I'm sitting there and I'm like, yeah, I think I would want to. I wouldn't mind seeing another chapter of this or a couple chapters of this. But again, yeah, to me, it wasn't as good as the first one. I think I ended up giving this one like a 7 out of 10 as opposed to the 7.5 I gave the first one.
Yeah, I thought one thing that was kind of neat with the animation was like at the beginning it almost felt more rudimentary compared to the end when like once the fog cleared and she was fighting and we found out that it was like an actual woman that she was fighting and all that kind of stuff, the animation started to get a little more crisp and detailed, and then the Sith ship flies down and it's all like very fancy looking. I don't know how to explain it.
Oh,
Very,
that ship looked weird. Like you're like,
yeah, it was
where are
like
you coming from?
dainty. I don't know.
It's like flat. Where are you coming from?
Yeah.
Like there's nothing.
Yeah. It's like I don't know, folded like a origami or something. And
Yeah, yeah.
Origami
but then
Sith ship coming down.
the Sith Master comes out and she's like super detailed and very
Yeah,
like crisp animation. I'm like
yeah,
very
But
different, very dynamic, right?
I think that was the weird part of that too, was because when that person came out, I mean, again, like you said, very detailed, very dynamic, but there's a light behind them. What they're wearing kind of almost seemed a little more bright in what they were wearing. You kind of almost start to wonder, is this a Sith? Are they trying to lead you down that
Yeah.
Sith path?
I
Or
I
are you
think
supposed to be a
yeah.
Jedi? Or
Just I don't know, the action that she took in the cave. Like obviously she killed that thing with the lightsaber, right? So
Right.
like Jedi don't kill, right? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I think it was like she said, did I pass the test? Like, you passed. Oh yeah, you passed. You
Yeah.
killed somebody. You passed. Come with me. Like,
Yeah,
like
you got what it
you
takes.
got what it takes to kill people.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
that was the vibe I
come
got.
with
It was
me,
like
we're gonna go
very
kill
like
everything.
this like menacing energy at the
Yeah.
end, and that's why I don't know if it's an older brother. I don't know if they really explained the relationship between them, but he
I
kind
think
of
they were
like
just
looks like
friends.
doubtful about it because obviously, yeah, now she's like murderous.
She comes out of the cave and they're like, "What did you do? Like, what have you done?"
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, kind of interesting. Kind of interesting.
I find there's a like the first two already. There's there's a theme of more dark side stuff in these episodes. You know what I mean? Like I feel there's more of that than there was in volume 1, and I think it goes on more. Like there's more later on in the episodes, right? So I think there's more of a theme.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's pretty balanced.
Yeah,
because some of them are pretty light. Like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I would say are light out of 9.
okay. Okay.
We'll see. We'll see as we go along. As we go along.
You're probably right, but I mean, like the first,
Yeah, it
okay,
definitely
like,
started off feeling.
it started
very
off
dark.
then. Okay, so like you're starting off as like, oh, the second episode is about Sith as well. Okay, all right,
Yeah,
this could be kind of different, right?
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, should we move on to the next one?
Moving on.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one is episode 3. It's In the Stars by Punk Robot. And it reads, 2 sisters, the last of their kind, who live in hiding on their ravaged land, squabble about how to survive with the Empire encroaching. On a water run, the sisters must fight back when they are discovered. Punk Robot is an animation studio based in Santiago, Chile, founded by Antonia Herrera, Gabriel Osorio, Mari Soto Aguilar, and Pato Escala.
I think you nailed all those, man.
Oh, awesome. Their works include a preschool series, Flipos, Las Aventuras de Muelen and Perlita, and the animated short film Historia de un Oso, winner of the first Oscar Award for animation in Latin America. I mean, I can't say I've heard of this studio.
No, I've never heard of it.
But the one thing I will say right off, the animation style was pretty damn good.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was really sharp, hey? Like really lots going on, but you could still see what was going on. It was really
you get the feeling that there was a couple blends of a couple different animation styles in that for sure. I think.
Yeah, but it came out looking really good.
Yeah, even when they're doing the painting thing with the telling the story, that part was animated so cool. Like I thought that was really neat.
Yeah, I thought it was quite interesting. As far as the story itself, up to that point, I think it was my favorite of the 3. You kind of got your backstory right away with obviously the 2 girls, the last ones left. The mother went to go fight the Empire. The Empire is obviously destroying the planet, taking the resources. You can only get water from basically sneaking into the Imperial base. And obviously you have the older sister that wants to protect the younger sister, and the younger sister who wants to go in there and fight everybody. It for such a short cartoon, so much was going on.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of why I liked it. It's just because like they did a good job of juggling what felt like 12 different stories in one.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. The animation was super awesome. Like it looked really nice and everything, but the story didn't grip me as much as some of the other ones for sure.
Okay. What about you, Andy? What did you think?
I mean, I was still, I like the style of it. Like the animation was great, was cool. I mean, it wasn't my favorite out of the first three for sure. I mean, I'm still a sucker for the first one. And I mean, it wasn't like the story wasn't the like tip top, but I mean, I love just the style of it. And I mean, all the animation's good, and I'm sure like it's it's better than I could ever do. You know what I mean? Like these guys work their butts off to do this kind of stuff, and like if you know how animation works, like they take so long to do this kind of stuff, and you know,
Mhm.
props to all this, props to all them, like whatever. But um, yeah, I don't know. It didn't hit me as much as the first one. I still like the first one more than this one, but it was still good. I still enjoyed it, and you know, um, who's not for kicking it to the Empire, right? So that's
Yeah, that's true.
you know
That's
what I mean?
true.
Like, but
Kind
yeah.
of looked pretty awesome when the destruction of the base. That was
Yeah, no,
awesome.
it was still cool, and um, yeah, it was just it was neat just the different styles. It definitely, like, at first I thought I thought it had that claymation sort of feel to it, but it kind of flowed. It flowed more than the claymation stuff that you're used to, right? It was
Yeah, like you
It
said, it's
definitely
almost
did.
like a combo
it was a
combo
combo
of
of a few,
CG
yeah.
and yeah.
Well, it was almost like a combo of can't remember what my buddy said, but it was almost like real. Some of the aspects of it was like almost real life, the way that they were kind of
Like live action style.
making the live action stuff, like just like from like not from the characters and stuff, but I think it was more like the land stuff, like whatever was going
Yeah.
on,
Oh
like
yeah, like when the plants were growing at the end
right,
and stuff
yeah,
like
and
that. Yeah.
dying and whatever it was, like it was there was a nice blend, like it was really cool. I like that aspect. That was good. Yeah.
Mhm.
But
All right. Should we go on to episode 4? Or
Sure.
Eldor, did you have anything more to say about
No,
in
I,
the
th- I think
stars?
I think I covered everything I wanted to say about it.
All right. So yeah, episode 4, I Am Your Mother by Aardman Studios. Young pilot Annie, who is embarrassed by her sweet but clingy mom, must team with her for a madcap family race at the academy. Along the way, their relationship is tested by the elements, their old ship, other racers, and each other. Aardman Animations Limited is a British animation studio founded in Bristol, England in '72. It is known for films using stop motion and claymation or clay animation techniques, particularly those featuring its plasticine characters Wallace and Gromit, Chicken Run, Shaun the Sheep, and Morph. And side note, did you guys catch where the Academy guy was Wedge?
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So that was kind of cool to see him appear in one of these.
Oh
Like,
man,
hey, I know that guy.
well, he does say Wedge Antilles, like he does say
Yeah,
Wedge,
he does.
right? So
He's like doing the whatever announcement thingy.
yeah.
I,
Oh man,
That's
this one
awesome.
became my favorite, like right off the bat. Like
Yeah.
I don't, I think the comedy aspect was really funny, like really well done, in my opinion.
I mean, first thing I'll say is you could definitely notice the animation style right off.
Oh,
Because,
for
I mean,
sure.
obviously,
Oh yeah.
Wallace and Gromit. But my favorite part of it was actually Wedge through the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
Going through basically shilling his products, and
Yeah.
it's like,
It's like the salesman, like just
Yeah,
trying to like.
a very salesman version of him. It's awesome.
yeah, and I thought that part was hilarious all through. It was, I think it was at that point that it again become my favorite story. At that point, yeah, I laughed throughout it. It was
So good.
it was
Great.
yeah.
When the ship comes in, the line, like the bra comes down and
Bra
hits the
drops.
robot in the face.
Yeah.
You're like, a bra? What the heck? Like, this is a Star Wars. This is Disney,
Yeah.
man. You can't be throwing bras out here.
Yeah, I thought the mom was a super awesome character, just like,
It's funny.
very haphazard and like junk is flying everywhere. She's
Yeah,
trying to
she
like
does,
weld
yeah.
up the robot and stuff. She was pretty awesome.
I like how they named the young girl Annie though. That was kind of a cool like pod racing sort of Annie sort of callback to episode 1. It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I got out of that. That was pretty cool.
And also the Twi'lek, and she's like, what does she say? Oh yeah, here comes the Ryloth roll or something like that. I was like, that's pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet.
The Ryloth roll. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was good. Like it was. I think that's kind of what people were expecting though too, because I mean, if you know Wallace and Gromit, you know all those like these kind of shows or movies that they made of this stuff. It's you know, it's very the humor is through and through in these things, right? So
Yeah, it's one of those like where I think it has a universal thing where adults and kids can enjoy both. Same with like Wallace and Gromit and Chicken Run and stuff. Like
Mm.
adults can watch it and laugh, same as kids, right?
Mm.
So I feel like it's
Yeah.
kind of cool what they got going on there.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, obviously, you could tell. I mean, these guys, they're definitely experienced. They know what they're doing.
Well, it's 1972. I hope so. Like, you know,
I mean, yeah. I mean, but I mean,
I didn't know that studio was that around for that long. Holy crap! Like that's must be the oldest studio here. Like,
no, but
Yeah,
I could see that because I remember Wallace and Gromit when I was a kid. So
yeah, see, I didn't. I don't think when I was a kid, I don't think I watched Wallace and Gromit. So I only knew about it later on. So I feel like I didn't know it was that old, to be honest. So.
Yeah, I feel like there was other claymation shows that I watched when I was young that like I would be curious to know if they were part of that, knowing
Involved.
that they went that far back.
Yeah.
Like that Postman Pat. I don't know if you guys know. Yeah, it's not
I don't
really
think so,
important.
no.
Not really
yeah, that one
important.
doesn't ring a bell.
We don't need to go into
That's
rabbit
another
hole of kids
podcast.
shows.
That's another podcast we can talk about.
But yeah, what do you guys think? Move on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so. There's
wanna
not
read
much to
this
say about
next
that
one.
one. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, it was just
It
good.
was cool.
So.
It was cool. We all liked
Yeah,
it.
It was nice. We all liked it.
Episode 5 is my favorite one, so I wanna read this one.
Yeah, go for it.
Journey to the Dark Head by Studio Mirko Ltd. A young girl raised in a temple on a distant planet amongst a community of seers blessed with visions of the future, but cursed not to share them with the Jedi. The girl, a mechanic, teams up with a young Jedi teetering on the dark side after the death of his master to take down a statue in the temple, bristling with dark energy. Oh, I forgot to add a part here where it's basically a Jedi Sith war is going on at the same time, and they're, she's trying to find a solution to the war. So pretty cool. Studio Mir is a South Korean animation studio founded in, I guess October doesn't really matter, 2010 by Jae Myung Yu. Yu has previously worked on Avatar: The Last Airbender as an animation director. He actually did that for 20 years. Their works include The Legend of Korra, Black Dynamite, The Boondocks, and Voltron Legendary Defender, as well as some animated films in the realm of Mortal Kombat and DC Comics, including
Nice.
some like Batman stuff. So,
Some of that early Batman movies and stuff.
no,
Animation.
more later, kind of
Later
like because
stuff.
they started in 2010.
Oh, 2010.
Right? So,
That's right. Okay.
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So it's like, yeah, it's quite a bit of like modern day animation that they have their hands in for sure.
I mean, that being said, I mean, as a person who was a huge fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender, you could see it right away in this cartoon. I'm also a fan of Legend of Korra. I loved Voltron Legendary Defender. I thought that was a well done series as well. And as far as this one, oh, by far my favorite. This was the one, out of all of them, this was the only one I gave a full 10 out of 10. I think not only was this a good story, I think I could talk a while about this one. I could see.
I feel like this is the one that felt the most Star Wars for sure.
Absolutely.
Like it felt really, really
I
like
agree.
connected to the Star Wars world. Even just the banter between the characters felt really Star Wars to me.
Yeah, and on top of that, I mean, you could see while they were up there fighting, you could see the balance between good and evil going throughout the statues. You could see the just the conflict within what was his name? Toll?
Oh yeah.
Toll,
Yeah.
the Jedi.
The Jedi.
And there was so much there. And
Yeah.
even at the end, they kind of almost hint like, yeah, we can make more stories off of this. Sign me
It
up.
did feel like it could go. Yeah.
Sign me
further.
up. I'm ready to watch a whole series of
Like a
this.
series of it. Imagine that, man. That'd be super cool.
Oh, I'd be into that. Yeah.
And I'm not a guy that watches a lot of anime, but man, I mean, obviously, I'm pretty biased with Star Wars, so I'd probably watch it. But
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, also too, that's the first, maybe even the only one that actually felt like a. No, maybe there's a couple of another one, but it felt very like Japanese anime style. It is South Korean, but like, yeah, to me, like,
that's probably
very,
the closest. Yeah.
yeah, the styling.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, you got really awesome lightsaber fight in there. That speeder scene where, such a good
Yeah.
episode. And then, of course, when they get their objective, like they put the explosives on the head, and then the energies fuse, and then they realize it's not just a dark head; it's dark and light, and they're both. It's about balance. So it's very cool. I really like that one.
Yeah. No, I agree. I was it became as it goes on, your favorite run. Like it's got all the elements for sure. And like I know the names of all of these shows that they did. Like I know all. I've never watched any of them. But I know most of these names. Like the only one I don't know is the black dynamite one. I'm not sure about that one, but I know the rest of them for sure.
I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, you need to grab your kids, go sit down one day and just start watching Avatar: The Last Airbender. Your kids are going to love it. You're going to love it.
Yeah.
Bring your wife. She's going to love it.
Bring your wife, bring your family.
Seriously.
Is Legend of Korra? I think Legend of Korra is related to Avatar: Last Airbender, right?
It's basically the next story.
Okay,
it's about 40 years down the line. But
I see. Yeah, actually, I haven't heard of Voltron
document.
Legendary Defender until I was putting that into the notes. So that's something I'll definitely be checking out sometime soon, because I grew up with Voltron and loved that as the show. So
yeah, I was a huge fan of that. I saw this was coming out. I decided to take a look at it. They try to be, how do I put it? They try to be. They're not obviously not telling the exact same story, so it's going to be different. But they try to honor the old story as much as possible.
Oh, nice.
So it was very well done.
Nice.
But as far as Avatar: Last Airbender, the funny part is, one of my old jobs, my boss that I worked with regularly was he was in his late 50s. His youngest daughter, I want to say at the time, was maybe 12. And he's the one that actually recommended it to me. It's like, wait, I got a 58-year-old guy here recommending a cartoon to me? Alright, I'll go take a look at it real quick. And I swear, I started watching it, I couldn't stop. Bring the whole family, you'll love it.
Is it the 2005, 2008?
Yeah, it should be a Nickelodeon series.
Yeah, it says that the D. Bradley Baker's in it
Yeah, I could see that.
as a voice actor in there. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Added. Done. Okay. Moving on.
My work here is done.
Work here is done. Yeah. You got a new fan, hopefully.
All right, so let's go on to episode 6, called "The Spy Dance" by Studio La Cachette. Yeah, we're gonna just
Yes,
say that's right.
I think you're right. It
Um,
actually might be like cachet or something like that, but that works fine. Would like it's French. We don't know.
fair enough. All
We
right,
don't
so
know.
so the premier dancer at a famous imperial frequented cabaret uses her unique skill set to spy for the rebellion, but the presence of a mysterious officer threatens to derail her mission. Doesn't really say much, but at the same time, you watch enough of the story and it all makes sense.
Yeah.
Studio La Cachette is an animation studio founded in 2014, hidden in Paris. I like the way they put that. It's hidden in Paris.
Yeah, they're
You can't find
like
this studio.
as far yeah, as far as finding
Underground.
information about these other studios, that was like all it even said about them. I had to actually like look up their works to do the rest of it.
Alright, let's see. Their works include Love, Death, and Robots, which I believe is similar divisions in that the episodes are by different animation studios. Like College Noir, Matey, Muley, Primal, Kairos, and Mune. I've heard of none of these.
Oh, you've never heard of Love, Death, and Robots?
No.
Oh man, it's so good, so good. It's on Netflix. If you guys get a chance to check it out, it's like all different. Each episode, it's kind of like Visions, like I was saying there. It's like each episode is a different style of animation, telling a different story and all that kind of stuff. But like really, really, really good.
Okay.
Okay. Um,
Short films kind of thing.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. At the beginning of this one, I was kind of almost sitting there like, "What the hell am I watching?" And I really didn't connect with this one right away. Um, it wasn't until you get about halfway through it that I finally started to understand what I was watching. I was like, okay, this is starting to make a little more sense. And by the time you get to the end of the story, where she finds out this Imperial officer that she's intending to kill in the first place because she thinks that this officer is the person that destroyed her hometown and stole her son away. It's not this guy, but it's actually her son.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
It was like at that point, it's like, oh wow, okay, now this it kind of all came together at the end of the story to me. But in the beginning, it was like, I don't know what I'm watching. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I thought the dancing part was pretty cool when she was like going around putting the whatever
What?
those were trackers or
Trackers,
detonators
yeah,
or
yeah.
something all over the imps there. That was kind of
Well,
neat.
again, the whole like ribbon thing kind of reminded me again of that famous scene in the prequels where Palpatine is talking to Anakin at the opera, and that's kind of what it reminded me of. I
Mm.
know it was different. It's not the same, but
Yeah,
it kind of
it's a
reminded
little
me of
bit
that.
different. It does,
Yeah.
yeah, it does kind of have that
It gave me
feel.
that feel, right? I was like, oh man, it's like
Yeah.
a small little callback, I think, but probably wasn't
Yeah.
meant to be, but that's what it just reminded me of.
Yeah, and I feel like we kind of have a recurring theme throughout these where it's like a youngster coming of age. So like her I don't know if they said it was her daughter or whatever, the girl with the pink ribbon that was like wanted to be more helpful with
Involved,
the
yeah.
rebellion efforts, and uh then when the lady in white, when she falls, that's her opportunity to like dive down and save her, and then throughout the rest of the episode she is part of the fight,
The
so
fight,
that
yeah.
was kind of cool. But yeah, I think that is something that they were kind of going for here, because there's quite a few of these episodes where there's like a youngster coming into their role as a moving on to something bigger in life.
I mean, yeah, like I said, for this one, that's kind of where I was with it. I mean, at the end of the day, it was still better than it was. It wasn't my least favorite. It was definitely wasn't my favorite. But it
I think
was
the
it was
bar
good.
is set.
Yeah, the bar's definitely set.
The bar was already set. No, you know.
I think I've said what I need to say.
It wasn't my favorite either. Like obviously, like it was. I don't know. The ending was cool. Like how they put it all together. Like it was a good ending.
It came together nicely at the end there.
I don't know. Like it was. Yeah, I don't know. Like it was. Yeah. It was good. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
I give it a 6.
I actually think I surprisingly still gave it an 8.
Oh, really?
You know what?
I think the animation was pretty strong.
I think
like,
if
for me,
this is the way I think I'm going to put it. If you're going off of the first half alone, it's about a 5. But once it got to the end of the story and I understood what was going on, I actually liked the story. Just
right. Yeah.
It took me too long to get there. So maybe I did grade it a little high. Maybe it's more like a 7. Now that I'm thinking about it.
I thought it was funny in the beginning where like the opening sequence there with the stormtroopers they're like it's almost like I think it was a security point or something like that. So they're like, they let the people go through the security point. And they're like, all right, day's over. Let's go. Let's get out of here. The security point. Nobody took over the security point. There's nobody here anymore. Like, we're all going to party. Like, it's like they hop on the ship and go like, oh, nobody's here anymore. I thought it was funny.
All right, so let's move on to the next one. Who wants to take on the next one?
Oh. I'll do this one. Episode 7, The Bandits of Golak by 88 Pictures. Fleeing from their village by train and pursued by ferocious Imperial forces, a boy and his Force-sensitive younger sister seek refuge in a vibrant and dangerous Haba. Am I pronouncing that right?
I can't remember how they said it in this
D is silent.
Yeah.
88 Pictures is based in Mumbai, India, and is founded by Malind D. Shinde. Hopefully I'm not.
Malindi Shindy.
Malindi Shinde. All right.
I don't know
I think you got it.
I don't know if that's how you say it, but that's what I pictured when I was writing.
You probably got it, yeah. They hold various credits of work under their belt, including the Annie Award and Daytime Emmy Awards nominated animated series Troll Hunters Trilogy and animated feature Troll Hunters Rise of the Titans and many more. Okay, so they've done a few big things. Well, I mean, big in the animated world, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, when you're winning those degree of awards, that speaks pretty highly of accomplishments.
Yeah. So okay. Obviously, different style of animation again. It was
very Indian. Like
very Indian.
I noticed right away. Like I was like, this is India for sure.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And it was very like it was the early part of it was a lot more brighter. Like you're on the train, it's bright sequences, bright, a lot of light, a lot of what's going on. Like I mean, it was very. The ending of it was, for me, a lot better than obviously the start of it again. I'm always a sucker for the Sith and seeing an Inquisitor. That was so cool. Actually, that was really
pretty
cool.
odd.
That was pretty cool. Like
honestly, I think this was one of the better lightsaber battles of the whole
I agree.
series.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like very well done. Yeah.
It was very it was the most real. It kind of reminded me of the season 7 of Clone Wars when of Maul and Ahsoka. It was almost like it was captured. Like some of it seemed motion capture, in my opinion. Like
even like the face detail almost looked like real.
Yeah, it was a different style for sure. Like I don't feel like I don't think I've seen that style, to be honest.
Yeah, me neither. It seemed very new. Like looking at it, I was like, whoa,
Yeah,
this is very different. Very
yeah,
different.
yeah. But yeah, it was a cool ending to that one.
Hmm.
And like you said, I think out of other than episode 5, because episode 5 obviously, like the whole fight sequence in that was really cool. This one's a close second for me, I think. For lightsaber, anyways, like the fighting sequence, I think is probably my close second for me.
I mean, I think for me, again, good story. Especially towards the end when we finally meet the Inquisitor, we actually get this fight. I kind of liked it when she kind of walked over to the older lady, the Jedi walked over, got the water to part, and all of a sudden there's the door to the little Jedi temple that's sitting there. I thought that was kind of creative. I kind of feel the same way with this that I felt about the second episode. Not my absolute favorite story, but I wouldn't mind seeing another chapter of this. Maybe a few years down the line. How did the training of this girl go? Maybe now she's able to go back into the world and she can hold her own. I wouldn't mind seeing this. I wouldn't mind seeing another chapter of it. I don't know if I want to see a series of it like the 5th episode.
Yeah.
But if they made
Yeah. Make 200 episodes of that series, episode 5.
Yeah.
Please and thank you.
But if they came out with another episode of it, I'd be like, ooh, I like to see where this goes.
Yeah. For
Go
me,
ahead,
if they were to do that, I would hope that the girl is a little bit older, because I gotta say that little girl was very frustrating for me. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
she just like could not stop, like, control herself, and the voice was kind of a little bit like annoying, I guess. And I was just like, oh man, this little girl, she's gonna get it.
Kind of gives you the
He's
earliest.
gonna get it.
Kind of gives you the like the early Ahsoka Tano vibes.
But more
Like-
bratty and like
Yeah,
disobedient.
yeah. But I mean more in the sense like early Ahsoka Tano, everyone hated her.
It's true.
I don't know. You guys are focusing on the girl, man. I would love to see more of this friggin' Inquisitor, buddy. Like this guy. Where'd he come from? I want to see more of him. That's what I want to see.
I
Sorry,
want to see what some of these other Inquisitors look like. So
I
I think
know,
they
right?
I think they
Yeah.
did a pretty good job of creating this one.
It was really good.
Yeah, and even the fight style of the Inquisitor felt like the fight style of the Inquisitors in like Rebels and stuff like that. I thought.
I think they did.
Yeah.
They did their homework. I think.
Hmm.
But yeah.
Okay, so shall we move on to the next one?
Sure.
All right,
Sure.
I'll take this one on. What are we at? Episode 8, The Pit by Dr. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I
Are
don't
you
know.
sure you want this one?
Dario.
Shitaggio.
I mean,
And-
you did it last time. Swamp there, Dark Nation Dio.
And actually by Lucasfilm.
Lucasfilm, yeah, that surprised me.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah. Yeah, they had a full-on hand in it apparently.
Okay, so a fearless young prisoner, forced to dig for Kyber by the Empire, plans a risky escape for he and his people. Funny thing is that pretty much really does sum the whole thing
Yeah.
up.
And then
Yeah.
he dies.
Yeah, they gave like the smallest description, but then I like looked at it, I'm like, I don't think we could really add a whole ton to that to
Yeah,
really,
yeah, that's really
it
it.
A bunch of people in a pit. He
Yeah.
goes up to get some help.
And then yeah, they
Gets
just
thrown
leave
back
him
in
there.
the pit, dies, and
Yeah.
that's it. Like,
Yeah, well, they do raise their voice because the young girl was like, "Follow the light" or something like that. Follow
Yeah.
the light. I'll start chanting that, and then
I
the
was
people.
telling myself, I was like, they're not gonna hear them from all the way down there. Are you crazy? Like, and then like the lights come out of the city. I was like, wait, is that like I didn't at first think that was the people, to be honest. I didn't think it was people. I thought it was like some sort of glitter coming out of the city or something because of the lights or whatever. And then I was like, oh wait, that's actually the people. So they actually heard them. Okay, this is silly.
Yeah.
I mean, at first I was thinking maybe because they were mining kyber crystals. Maybe it had something to do with the kyber crystals.
Maybe.
But
I don't know, man.
The animation of the city was pretty cool. How they had like the kyber crystals shining in the like towers and stuff like that. That was kind of neat.
Yeah. I think the thing for me with this one was, up until that point, I really liked this one. Because, I mean, you got into it, and you're watching them, and you're watching all these prisoners, and you're getting to see kind of a good close-hand look at the cruelty of the Empire. Yeah. And it's like, okay, you're watching, I mean, these people are they're digging as they find kyber crystals, they're being taken away from them. One of the guys stopped for a second, he didn't really want to work, he got shocked, get back to work. They're digging deeper and deeper and deeper. The second that they're done and there's nothing left to go after, rather than bring them back all up, they just shut the lights off and leave them there to die.
Yeah, I was like, wow,
and it was
brutal.
But I could see the Empire doing that.
Yeah,
and it was like,
we were like, wow, that's how the Empire is, man.
It's like this really played into how cruel the Empire really was, and I'm like, wow, this is really messed up, and it actually hit into the feels a little bit. It was like, it's like,
I agree.
It's like, my God, and then you get this one kid, and he's trying to get out, and I'm not gonna lie, going through that, all I could think about was the last Batman movie with Bane when Christian Bale's trying to climb out and everybody's cheering.
Yeah.
But
out of the prison. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, he gets out, he goes to the town, and obviously nobody's listening to him except for the stormtroopers who catch him, and they bring him back and they throw him back in there, and he lands and he's dead. And again, it's like, okay, wow, the Empire's really cruel, and again, really hitting the feels. It's like this, wow, it's like, this is really good. It's a sad story, and there's nobody really touched on this. I thought it was good, and then suddenly it switched over to that whole follow the light, and it's just like, no, don't end it like this.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I felt about that.
Yeah. As somebody who works in construction, right away when they were digging the pit, first thing I noticed, I'm like, why aren't they doing like a switchback so they could get back out of there? Like, how are they getting? And then I'm like, oh, they're not getting out.
They're leaving them down there.
Gotcha. So I kind of like almost gave my own self away, like what was gonna happen before it even happened.
But I thought they, like, in the first like iteration of that hole, I'm pretty sure they had one though. Because they were going down.
Then eventually it started getting deep enough.
Getting deeper.
It showed smooth sides, and I was like, "Huh, that's weird."
That's weird. What's gonna happen? Yeah.
But I love too how it just started there, like in the middle of nowhere. He's like, "Start digging," and then he's like, "See, I knew it. There was kyber," and then and then they just build a city.
And then the speed ahead, like it shows like the city being built or whatever, but everything's going in fast motion, like it's like.
Yeah, that was kind of neat.
That was pretty neat, actually.
Yeah. But also, I just noticed we didn't read the thing about the studio there.
Yeah.
I'll read it.
Oh, you got it? All right.
The Art Shitaggio is a Tokyo-based 2D animation studio. More recently, it has gotten acclaim and notoriety for being Japan's first American anime studio and first Black-owned anime studio. It was founded in 2016 by animator Henry Thurlow and background artists and twin brothers Arthel Isom and Darnell Isom. Their works include Castlevania, The Doll Shoujo no Piero, with anime support credits in Eastern anime such as Seven Deadly Sins, One Piece, and many others. Now, obviously, I mean, I've heard of Castlevania,
Yeah,
Seven Deadly
Castlevania is really,
Sins.
really good.
Yeah, I've heard. I actually haven't gotten a chance to watch it yet myself. But I've heard of Seven Deadly Sins. Um, Kids, I've heard
And
of
One
the
Piece,
other
I'm
ones,
sure.
but
Oh, you haven't
uh,
heard of One Piece? Yeah,
no, I
One Piece
haven't.
is pretty big though. Like
I've
it's
heard of
like
One Piece. Yeah, I've heard of
yeah,
that.
like it's very very hip these days with the young crowd.
The youngins.
See kids wearing those weird looking straw hats. That's probably why, is because they love that show.
Straw hats.
Yeah, like the old farmer hats, you know. I'll show you.
You must see a lot of that out there out west. Like we don't see that out in the east.
I
It's
more
too
see it
cold. It's
like
too cold out here, man. We can't be wearing straw hats.
Definitely don't see it down here either, and south of the border, so to speak.
no, I meant like people in the States. Like
Oh, okay.
it's a thing. Kids love these things.
Well, like you said, not on the East Coast. But anyway, yeah, get into the next one, or
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
who wants to
Here,
go?
I'll put a picture. I'm gonna put a picture in the Discord. Oh, where did it just go? There, that's the hat that I was talking about.
Oh.
Yeah, definitely have not seen any of those around here.
Looks like Anna Green Gables. You know what that is? Maybe you don't.
Yeah, it is definitely a very old school style for sure.
All right. I guess who wants to read the last one?
I'll read it. Episode 9, Ow Song by Triggerfish, which actually is a type of fish I found out when looking this up. An alien child who who longs to sing is raised by her loving but stern father to stay quiet because of the calamitous effects her voice has on the corrupted kyber crystals in the nearby mines. Triggerfish is a computer animation film studio based in Cape Town, South Africa, and Galway, Ireland. The studio is best known for its animated feature films Adventure in Zambezia, Kumba, and SEAL Team. This one was kind of like, honestly, this is my least favorite. Just the animation style, I don't know, like kind of, it's like a style where it kind of looks like stuffed animals type of thing. So it didn't feel very Star Wars to me, but I did think the whole kyber crystal thing was pretty cool. Like the way their species seems to have some kind of connection to the kyber crystals, so that's why they were the ones mining it. And it was like they have that story at the beginning that tells you about the Sith corrupted all the kyber on this planet and stuff. So that part of it I thought was pretty cool, but the animation itself was not my favorite.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really connect with this one at all. For what I thought was a good run of cartoons, I think it kind of went out with a whimper, so to speak. Yeah, this one just didn't connect with me in any way. I understood the story, just didn't didn't do much for me.
But again, it connects with the theme that you were saying, like young person going off on a new journey, starting a new thing, right? Like it did the same thing.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, I like these last two, like didn't really do as much as the first like 7 did for me. Like, these ones, like they kind of felt a little like this, especially the last one. Like I agree. Like I wasn't like, I was like, oh man, this is really like the animation was different, obviously, but it was very bright. you know, it was cool that they brought a Jedi in on it too. That was pretty neat. Like, obviously, like anytime you see a Jedi or Sith, like for me, anyways, I like it.
Yeah,
Um,
true.
but yeah, I mean, the story was pretty cool, I guess, pretty neat. But uh, uh, other than that, yeah, it was, I don't know.
I like
It was
that she was like
stuff.
climbing around on everything as far as like you know, like I was saying, it looks like a stuffed animal or something, and then she's climbing these crazy mountains and stuff. That part was kind of neat, but to me, yeah, I don't know, some kind of disconnect from the Star Wars feel, for sure.
Yeah.
And I get it. I mean, hey, not everything's gonna connect. It just kind of is what it is. That's kind of how I felt
Well,
about it.
and that's kind of it too. Like with even you look at the TV shows, you look at the movies, you look at whatever. Like, you know, they're trying to branch out to all, you know, to all ages, with especially with like, you know, the young Jedi adventures and the Lego stuff, and they're trying to like they're trying to cover all the age groups. So I
And
mean,
it's totally
I
understandable.
can see what they're trying to do, and they're slowly doing it. But I can see what they're trying to do. Obviously, like the whole purposes of this was to like probably, you know, sort of give some of these studios a little bit more, I don't know, recognition by using this giant platform to kind of boost their studios, and I don't know, show what they can do, and see what styles are out there. And it's neat. It's neat to see though, like all the different styles of these animation. There's like I wouldn't have thought like some of these. Like I was like, man, like some of them are really good. Like and never seen them before. But I mean, obviously they're, you know, slowly coming up with new things to do, or they're you know, they're always coming up with new things to do. So I don't know. Like it was neat to see the diversity of it, but obviously it doesn't hit with everybody. So
Yeah.
And it's like you said, I mean, some things translated better than others. But, yeah. I mean, like I said, I mean, I don't think I'm not going to go as far as to say I hated it. It just didn't connect with me. That's all it ended up being.
Yeah.
okay, so
Yeah,
put it this
that's
way:
what I mean.
as far as wanting to see more of this,
The last one?
Yes
Not
or no?
really. Not really.
Okay. Didn't hate it, but we don't want to see any more.
I could do without. But then again, like if kids love it, hey, give them more.
If obviously,
Exactly.
and of course, it's going to hit with some people. Like that's not, you know, it's not, everybody has a different style of what they like to watch, especially in anime. Like anime is so like, and I'm talking from somebody who doesn't even know much about anime, but I mean, I can tell that anime is quite diverse in stories and style, that
Oh, yeah, it
people
is.
have their different, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, big time.
I have no idea how deep it goes, but like, yeah, I can just tell just by looking at it and just the excitement that people get around certain things, that yeah, it's huge, and people like what they like, you know. Just like we like Star Wars. Some people like Star Trek, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
That's true. That's
you know
true.
what I mean? So and
I always find it weird when people like both. I'm like, how? Yeah, like I don't know, something. Yeah,
How
I don't
dare
know.
you like them both?
Honestly,
but
I
some
do.
people do. Some
I
people
do too, to be honest. But
Yeah.
I like sci-fi in general. So like
Yeah.
I'll watch whatever. Like, you know, like I'm watching a lot of the Stargate stuff that's on TV right now, Stargate SG-1, just because I've never watched the full gist of it. Right. Like someday I wanna watch Battlestar Galactica. I've never watched it.
Like the
Never.
newer one or the old one?
I don't know. Whatever.
Well, the newer one I did myself. I owned them all on DVD at one point. Oh, so good. The
Yeah.
older
So
one, it is
Yeah.
good, but it's not like I didn't get into it because it's more like 80s style or 90s style. Whenever it came out, like I don't know, just something about it wasn't really for me.
it's sort of like
Actually,
if you're a Doctor Who fan. If you're a Doctor Who fan, I'm a huge Doctor Who fan, but I have a hard time getting through the old ones, like the really
oh,
old ones. Like I
absolutely.
have such a hard time, and I really want to, but you're just like, oh my gosh, this is like, it's like watching paint dry. You're like, oh man, like
Yeah,
you know?
I totally get that because growing up, I've always been a Star Wars fan, always. Um, but I always wanted to get into other things and sci-fi ish, and I think I got into Star Trek a little. Not a big, never really got into the original series, but the newer stuff as it was coming out, I started to watch some of that, and I enjoyed it. Um, One day because back then, Doctor Who used to come on PBS,
Right.
and it was like Saturday afternoons it would be on, and I'd be like, well, let me sit down and watch an episode of this. Maybe I'll like it. And I watched one episode of that, and I was like, I'll never watch that again. What the hell was that? I couldn't tell what was going on. I couldn't figure anything out. It was just like, oh no, this isn't my kind of show. But then they restarted the series with the BBC stuff, and you get into like the David Tennant stuff and all that. I started watching all that, and I enjoyed all of it.
Hooked.
So yeah, so I've tried. I wouldn't mind trying going back to the old one again, just to see if I could understand it better now. But
it is tough.
Yeah, I could see it.
Let me tell you from experience, and I obviously you did obviously, but I went back to like first couple seasons of Doctor Who, like black and white, and my buddy is a huge Doctor Who fan too, so we tried to do it together, and it was just like, oh my gosh, what is this? Like, it was tough.
Different time.
It was different. That's it, right? Different times, right? But it's like every rendition of Doctor Who is still it's doesn't matter how far ahead they've gone. Like the original ones are still like well beloved. Like they're doesn't matter how old it is. It was people still love it all, right? So
well, I think the beauty of Doctor Who is that it's a continuous story. They've never sat there and it hasn't technically been rebooted. It was, this is the continuing story from what we did 50 years ago. And I think that's kind of the beauty of it is they haven't stopped.
But anyways, so that was my take on anime. Sorry, it went a little weird. But...
Boy, did we go off track there.
A
little off track.
Just to go back to the Star Trek thing, I just want to say, like, there was periods where I definitely watched a lot of Star Trek, especially, I can't think of what it's called, but with Jean-Luc Picard and all that.
Next Generation.
Yeah, Next Generation. With the Borg and all that kind of stuff. That was my Star Trek period, but I never really felt like a Trekkie. I never was into it the way that Trekkies were. So
I wouldn't consider myself a Trekkie, but I've watched probably most of the series. Like
I think I've seen all the movies.
Oh, the movies, yeah, I've watched all the movies too. The only one I haven't watched for series was Enterprise. That's the one I didn't get to, but
oh, okay, yeah.
Anyways, this is a Star Wars podcast. No, Let's move on. Before we start annoying people with Star Trek stuff.
Yeah.
The hell's all this Star Trek talk about?
I came into a Star Wars podcast and they're talking about Star Trek.
You wouldn't believe what they were saying.
Bunch of closet Trekkie fans.
Alright, so we covered kind of the big thing that came out on May the 4th. Also, like we said, we came back and we mentioned Young Jedi Adventures, and I know I haven't watched it, but I did say, I did watch the shorts, the little 4-minute episodes, and they seem fine for what they are. I mean, it's not something I'm gonna jump in and be like, oh god, I gotta go watch every episode when it comes out, but it seemed fun. I mean, for a kid that wants to watch it, I would gladly sit my kid in front of a TV and say, hey, enjoy this for a little while. there's nothing wrong with it.
Definitely. I think it
Yeah,
seems
because
like a good
it's hard
starter.
for kids to connect to the parts of Star Wars that we love because they're younger and they connect to it differently than we do. So something like that is kind of like it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. It just gives them something that's for them.
But I also don't know if you. I think you had stepped away when me and Swampcraft was talking about it.
Yeah, I was.
Um,
I got the tail end of it.
Yeah.
there was the Simpsons episode that they made, or the little Simpsons short with Maggie that was
Oh
released
yeah,
on May the 4th. Also,
I haven't watched that, but I saw it on Disney Plus. I wanted to watch it to see what was it about. So
yeah, it's something I'm probably gonna catch tomorrow. Maybe we'll cover it in the next one. But I didn't even realize that they were going to make that. So
yeah,
that was kind of just a surprise when I saw it. But I mean, yeah, definitely gonna watch it. Definitely gonna enjoy it. Hopefully, enjoy it because
Yeah.
I was a Simpsons fan
Yeah.
back in the day. So,
Yeah, something to check out this weekend for me as well, for sure.
that being said, guys, we've kind of taken off for a little while, and we kind of had a nice long episode here.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you guys want to add?
no man,
No,
I don't think so.
I'm
Yeah,
about ready to head out myself.
Yeah, I was
So
gonna say we kind of covered every base I think we could. So,
Swamp's got to go on the town,
yeah.
man. Still, like,
yeah. So
Yeah.
let's get through this quick, guys. Swampgrass, where can we find you, man?
I'm on Twitch at twitch.tv/swampgrass420. Monday to Friday, always doing my streaming thing, playing Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes and Marvel Strike Force. So come check me out anytime. Usually on weekends, I'll do like a Sunday stream, but not all the time. But yeah, pretty much there a lot of the time.
Hi, Andy, where can we find you, bud?
um, mostly everything I have linked up in a link tree. So a link tree I'm posting in the chat. I don't know, some people probably won't see it, but link tree linktr.ee/Andy_beads. So I got everything on there, including my Twitch channel where I actually have been streaming more. I've been doing Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturday mornings, mostly Marvel Snap now on stream. So if you are into that, come on by. As well on my link tree as well, though, I'd like to mention my my Spotify that I've recently got going with some new music I put on there. So check it out. All on the link tree and everything else on their Discord and blah blah blah. Yeah.
Nice.
How about you, Eldor?
Well, I can be found definitely on twitch.tv/ Darth_Eldor. You can also find me talking from time to time on Twitter. Also Darth_Eldor. I was hoping to get back on streaming a little more. I was gonna do a playthrough of Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Unfortunately, um, the game and streaming don't seem to kind of want to mix. So so
That's kind of the problem I was having with that Sons of the Forest game I have too. I can't seem to get streaming work for it.
yeah, it's like my computer's just not good enough to do both at the same time. But it's unfortunate, but I can still play the game. So I'm hoping for the next episode of the collective where I'll be able to give a little review of the game and hopefully we'll be able to talk about it a little bit because so far what I've played is amazing. I'm not trying to play on the hardest settings like some people. I just want to know the story and enjoy it.
Well, for the story, I think I won't be getting the game for a while, so I'm probably gonna watch somebody's playthrough and just get the gist of the story, and just like I did for the other one before I bought the game. So I just want to know the story. I want to know the story, like I do.
I
Yeah,
understand that.
I've been watching little bits of people streaming it and stuff, and it seems pretty cool story.
I think the hardest part has been trying to get to the game to play it and trying to avoid all those little bits of story because I wanted to play it to get there. Um, but um, but yeah, like, and I think it's been totally worth it. So, um, but for me, that's just kind of the way I want to do it. But hey, hopefully we'll talk about it in the next one. But yeah, catch me on Twitch, catch me on Twitter. I'll be around. And yeah. Alright, guys. So thanks again for joining us here for episode 7. Hopefully we'll get this up on YouTube in the next few days so you guys could rewatch it if you like. We'll be back hopefully in the next couple of weeks with episode 8 of Shadow Collective Podcast. To those that stopped in tonight, thank you all for joining us. Or thank you all for who have listened to us all the way through. And may the force be with you always.
See ya.